ministers to attend sittings of the House, and where one is unable to attend, you communicate effectively to the presiding officer. The failure of some ministers to regularly attend the House brings business in the House to a standstill. Remember, you're here for you to be able to respond as executive, and we are holding these offices in public trust. And when you abdicate your responsibility as ministers, that is a breach. As leaders, as elected members of parliament, and as appointed ministers, let's do what we've been sent to do. Let's be responsible enough. The absence of ministers from this House impedes the efficiency and effectiveness of legislature. We as the mere members of parliament who come here to work, I know for us we are mere members of parliament. We come here to work, and when we come here to work, we come to represent our people. So kindly, honorable ministers, help us and be in the House to support the people out there, to answer the queries that are coming out. And as I said, it is a breach of your duty. Total breach. And you may not like the presiding officer. For me, it doesn't concern me. It's not my business. But you're here to work for your people. They are not saying I didn't go because I don't like the presiding officer. So what? Come and represent your people. Come and work for this country. And I want the chief executive of the country to know, and this goes to the appointment committee, the ministers will be moved from their positions to another sector. That will be the first thing we shall check. Did you attend parliament? Appointments committee must take note of that. How many times did you attend parliament? That should be one of the bases. And I'm happy that the members of appointments committee are here, and I want you to take note of that. And Prime Minister, we are going to give you a list of attendance of ministers from when you started, how many times your ministers have attended, and how many people have not attended the House. And I will not get tired of thanking Honorable Bahati. Bahati, Musasizi, that group is always here with the Rusoke. Even my Musei energy is there, Okasai. Honorable member, but of course the Prime Minister is always here. Honorable members, the rains have started. I am also happy that the Minister of Agriculture has come. Being one of the good ministers we have, Honorable Minister, we had requested you for our seeds, and now that members are going on recess, we just want a response from you that what are we going with? We'll need okay.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you for that compliment that I'm one of your good ministers. I pledge to continue being. I request, Right Honorable, that you could convene us for a meeting with the Minister of Finance, and we discuss how to go about it. Thank you.
I have a Prime Minister here. Honorable Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you for your motherly kindness. One, I will apologize on behalf of the ministers for not being around yesterday. Many of them had come in a bit late, after 2, though they were intending to come. I want to request you to continue working with ministers, and they are also committed to continue working with you. And I pledge that we shall improve on the timekeeping so that they are always here on time. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable members, I not finished my communication, but I want to thank you for your apology. And for me, I will always work with the ministers. But you have no choice. You have to work with me. You have no choice. You have to work with me within these 5 years. So for me, I'm open. We'll work together. It's not about an Anita. It's not about me. It's about the people of this country. It's about these members who all the time come here and there's nobody to respond to what they are raising. It's not about me as a person. I have nothing personal with anybody. And whoever thinks that I have anything personal. Honorable members, at the end of today's sitting, we will go on recess until 28th September. Unlike other recess periods, where some committees will continue to transact, this recess will be an absolute one. I expect you to head to your constituencies to monitor and implement government programs. Because we are also tired of saying members are not in the house. Now we have opponents like what was raised the other day. So now I want you to go and work with those opponents and make sure you protect your constituency. Nobody should tell the voters that, we had committee. No, you go and work. And the voters outside there, your members are coming home. Yes, once again, I want to thank you for coming. And we have a very congested order paper. There's a procedural matter here. Let's start with the lady.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for your communication and for taking us on, especially for our absence in the House. Right Honorable Speaker, I was perturbed, particularly when you mentioned that some ministers are saying that they don't feel comfortable attending this parliament because of the presiding officers. And it leaves us wondering whether the ministers are serving the presiding officers or are serving the country and responding to the issues that we raise here. And I understand even most of the ministers are members of parliament. So if that allegation keeps on lingering around, should we assume that the ministers are not in tandem with what the presiding officers are doing? And if it is like that, can the Prime Minister call upon the ministers and find out who are those specific, because we shall assume that it's all the front bench that is undermining the presiding officers. Thank you.
Honorable members, that is not anything for discussion on whether you want to come inside because you like Anita or Thomas. No, that's not anything for discussion. But you must take note as ministers. We are still here for 5 years. Yes?
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for your communication, and particularly, Right Honourable Speaker, the procedure matter I want to raise. I want to thank the Prime Minister for coming to apologize. But Right Honourable Speaker...
And by the way, the Right Honourable Nabanja this morning called me equally apologizing.
And I want to thank her also for apologizing. Right Honourable Speaker, the procedure matter I want to raise. This is not the first time the Honourable Nakadama is coming to apologize here when we don't have ministers in the House. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm on record of raising the issue of ministers, not once, not twice, not 20 times. Right Honourable Speaker, I want it to be on record today, and since the Prime Minister is here, right, will it be procedurally right for it to be on record that the Prime Minister commits that what happened yesterday will never happen again? Because they come and casually apologize, then after apologizing, the same thing happens tomorrow. So my procedure matter is, will it be procedurally right for her to come here to commit government and commit their office that this will never happen again in the 11th Parliament? That is what I wanted to move.
Honourable members, what Honourable Member is raising is a very pertinent issue. We need a commitment from government. Yes?
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you very much. And on my part, I'm actually very happy that you are asserting our authority on our behalf. That's number one. Number two, I'm seeking your guidance as to whether the ministers instructed to appear in Parliament will include the Minister of Education, who has been adjudged to be proceeding with us on Zoom, or whether these other ministers are also free, like her, to attend and appear on Zoom.
Let's first get a commitment from the Prime Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker, you know, the religion I believe in, that is the religion I believe in, people do wrong and they seek for forgiveness. Then the following day, they do another wrong and they seek for forgiveness. And God is always forgiving them. That is our Creator. When I commit that honorable ministers will do better, I believe that honorable members who are ministers will continue improving every day. I thank you.
Honorable members, on the issue of what Honorable Segonaz raised, that is under Rule 114 on attendance of sittings by ministers. For any ministry, the minister or at least the Minister of State shall attend the sitting of the House. And where none of them is able to attend, the minister shall request another minister to represent that ministry's interest in the House and notify the Speaker. I was notified by the First Lady that should be sending Honorable Guang, who is also here, should be sending Honorable Guang. Are you not representing the First Lady? Honorable Mwingo is also there. So I got a letter. Zijan, you are not a minister. You are not a minister. Let's have decorum. Respect for the House, okay? You're making us a procedure matter on what? Come on. I got a letter from the minister sending the two. and I'm okay with it as a presiding officer. Thank you. Lope, you'll come last. Let me first. On the communication, and you are the honorable members, you are the same people with the matters of national importance. You are the same people with matters of national importance.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. There is a pertinent issue, Right Honorable Speaker, you raised about seeds. Majority of the members here are part of food security in this country, Right Honorable Speaker. So we needed some clear response as members are going for holiday. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Seeds. Seeds.
Since we have the Honorable Minister for Agriculture here, let him come and inform us about the seeds issue.
Right Honorable Speaker, I presented a substantive statement here pointing out that Ministry of Agriculture no longer gives out seeds. We have zero budget for that. The policy changed to PDM. However, we have had exceptional circumstances where this House has intervened and the Ministry of Finance accepted and made supplementary provisions. So that's why I was saying, if I cannot make a commitment without the involvement of the Ministry of Finance, as long as the Ministry of Finance makes a provision, you just hold on, Right Honorable, I'll allow Doctor. As long as we have a provision, the accounting office of any entity under the commitment control system cannot commit funds they do not have in their budget. So unless we get that commitment that some funds will be released, we will be able to instruct all the input dealers who have been in this system to give the seeds to members of parliament. So I beg that we have a dialogue with the Speaker representing Parliament and the Ministry of Finance, and we find a solution. But as of now, I am non-committal.
Information. Right Honorable Speaker, we need only 4 billion shillings to ensure that all the constituencies in this country, they get seats. When we do that, we would have secured this country in terms of food for the next season. Right Honorable Speaker, through you, you have always paid attention to the issues that are so crucial for the people of Uganda. We ask you, Right Honorable Speaker, to prevail. Minister of Finance should find 4 billion shillings only. I thank you so much.
Right Honorable Speaker, as they labor to Minister of Finance to find resources to give our people seeds, Right Honorable Speaker, across a good number of our people in Uganda are fishermen. We have the fishing communities that in most cases are not supported. There are those who are doing aquaculture, they're not given fingerlings. There are those, they are banning boats, they are banning nets, but they're not supporting them with fishing tools. They should be as well considered, Right Honorable Speaker.
I see the minister excited. Minister, come to the floor. Honorable Minister.
But procedure, Madam. Procedure, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Minister, assure us that you're going to give.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My boss is around, but since you have given me the opportunity, just as the Honorable Minister said, it's so urgent for us to sit with the Ministry of Finance, and surely as honorable members go back to their communities, it would be healthy to go with both the seeds for crop, the seeds for the fingerlings, and also for animals. It's very important to go to our communities and see that our people are given the chicks, the fingerlings, the different. So for me, I am ready to move around and support the honorable members of parliament when given the opportunity, especially financially. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we hear from government about that? Because it's a serious matter. Let's first resolve that. What you want is what we have asked for.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm going to call Minister of Finance together with the Minister of Agriculture. We meet tomorrow and we shall come back here with the feedback.
Honorable members.
No, procedure, Madam. Procedure, Madam. Procedure, Madam Speaker.
Yes, procedure.
Madam Speaker, you have just guided this House earlier that we are actually proceeding on recess today. When the Prime Minister, and I will not call her Deputy Prime Minister because of where she's seated today, when the Prime Minister says, and we come back, and we on recess up to 28th, you know, this is how this government has been playing games. That's point number one. The second procedural issue, Madam Speaker, is about how we run government. Those of us that have been around know, and that this is how governments run. And I mean governments of civilized men and women. The minister responsible raises a budget and he presents it to the ministry responsible for finance. Now, we are deceiving ourselves here by saying, where is the money, when we did not put it in the budget. Either the reason we did not put it in the budget is that the Minister of Agriculture did not present it to finance, or we rejected it by ourselves. The second option is that maybe we do not have a prime minister because you do not coordinate cabinet from here. What they are displaying here is a show that actually they do not know what they are doing. Borrowing the words of the late Honorable Jacob Olanya, Right Honorable Speaker, seated where you're seated, and she would turn like you've turned to look at the person speaking. He used to say that you have ministers running around like headless chicken. Because I'm not a speaker, I will not repeat the same words. May I request that you procedurally guide the Prime Minister to coordinate cabinet from elsewhere and just present to us what they are meant to present to us.
Honorable, yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I like honesty because my name is Frank. It's not that we are really clueless about what is required. Government follows policy. We govern by policy. You may reach a point and say this policy is not working, let's change it. Government reached a point and said that the distribution of seedlings was counterproductive. That the people who were involved in distributing were distributing to themselves. That they were even distributing seedlings out of planting time. So the executive took a decision that let money go through PDM and people buy for themselves. But repeatedly on this house, members continue to bring out an argument that giving seedlings directly is still very relevant, isn't it? And I seem to agree with that proposition. So from our side, I cannot decide here. We have to get back to the position of the executive and see how we can reform the policy from the input of your submissions. That's why I'm requesting the Right Honorable Speaker to coordinate with us. She could even have a meeting with us and give us the position. And we would be able to move together.
Honorable Minister, if that was a policy that was made by cabinet, we will not change the policy here. But the fact remains that we want seats. For us, we want seats. We are not changing the policy, but the fact that we are able to rescue other people outside there, let's now rescue the whole country by giving them seats. So I would love to be part of that meeting tomorrow. Let's have a meeting in my office at 11, not actually 11 at 2. Let's have a meeting and then we will communicate to the members. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise on 2 clarification points. One, the Prime Minister presides over, is the supervisor of the Minister of Agriculture. The policy has changed. Now in PDM, we give money to people. However, not all the people receive money. What about those?
39%.
What about those within the 39 who have not received seeds?
No, outside the 39.
Sorry, yes. 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 The second issue I rise on is the Minister of Agriculture has talked about change in policy, which is correct. However, as I have already noted, I will raise it in a matter of national importance so that.
Yes, thank you. Akik?
Yes, Madam Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want really this to go on record because we elected you overwhelmingly. And even these ministers elected you. I do not see why some of the ministers can even imagine in their heads that while you are presiding in that seat, they cannot step here. That is unacceptable. And for us, much as you should know this, we have the powers. The parliament is an independent organ with its powers, and our duty is to check the executive. So we have to check you. Whether you like it or not, that is our mandate. I do not want to come here and sit and begin imagining that I have to be at the mercy of a minister. This really would be giving away the power that the people gave me from Fort Portal in this house. So a minister has to be put to order, and from today, we don't want to hear anything like the speaker coming here and complaining about ministers. Ministers must go and check themselves, and if not, we are going to deal with you in the committees. We won't pass your ministerial statements. We will even block the budget. We have all this power. So we don't want this business of ministers really undermining our speaker.
Honorable members, what I said, some of the ministers may say, I'm not going to the house because I don't like the presiding officer. Not particularly Anita or not particularly Thomas. They may have that perception that I don't like a presiding officer. And as I've said, that's upon you who feels that you don't like a presiding officer. We are still here for some good time. Next item. Okay, Lob.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Without being mistaken for regurgitating matters already debated by members, in the 8th Parliament, there was a motion to separate the role of ministers and members of Parliament. Unfortunately, it was lost. I believe the goings on are offering potent education on the nature of conflict that arises when ministers play a dual role of being members of Parliament and cabinet ministers. In other jurisdictions, even within the region, that problem has been solved. And I think parliaments are working better. Right Honourable Speaker, today is the 27th sitting of the first meeting of the 3rd session. In this document here, I have catalogued 50 issues for which Parliament gave instructions to ministers and none of them was responded to in the 2nd session. This is the 3rd session. if I had sought your leave, I would have laid this catalogue out over matters for which Parliament offered instructions, the Speaker ordered, no response from the front bench. And we have a Prime Minister, and the ministers are around. And somehow it has become their culture that you say, Parliament will forget. Unfortunately, me, I don't forget. I have the catalogue and the dates, and the members raise these issues and the instructions given on matters ranging on human rights, on finance, on the environment, on health. No statement, no response, nothing. And right on the Speaker, the ministers come around, peep in, and know we shall forget. I don't know what they believe. So, as you know, Speaker, I find it a bit, disturbing that we go into a third session when matters from the second session we are not attended to, and we allow ministers to proceed on the floor. Right now, Speaker, I want to suggest to you, with your indulgence, that now that we are going into recess, no minister with a pending statement be allowed on the floor of Parliament unless they have cleared their backlog with the Parliament. Because then we are doing a ritual here. If the minister has a matter as far as 2022 and not presented upon, and members continue on the same issues using different languages, but over the same matter, why should we allow the minister back without resolving backlog over unanswered questions? Right, Honourable Speaker, and with your permission, I'll share this document with your office. And if you allow me, when Parliament resumes, I'll read out this backlog of unanswered questions from all sectors. And the ministers continue coming around, appearing very serious. Because these members are returning to their constituencies to answer to issues ministers fail to answer upon. Right, Honourable Speaker. But I leave it upon the presiding officer to choose the course of action upon which this could be acted upon. I thank you.
Honorable Love, could you lay that on table so that I'll be able to forward it to the respective ministers to bring a written response?
Yes, right, Honourable Speaker, because your order I would lay on table.
Lay it on table.
Yeah, because these ministers have this information, but they are
Please
most
don't.
reluctant
You
to act
do.
upon their duty.
That's why you are in opposition.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I will lay this list of shame from the ministers.
Is it entitled shame? How can you lay shame?
Right, Honourable
Yeah,
Speaker,
lay the-
I beg
lay
to
the
lay
document.
a document entitled Consolidated Plenary Follow-up Issues from the second session, not acted upon as of August 2023. I beg
Thank
to lay.
you. Please lay. We'll forward it to the Prime Minister. Yes.
All right, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Honorable Lop for coming up with that document. But one, some issues are solved and we don't come back here to Parliament, some. Secondly, there are issues that are supposed to be put on the order paper, and these ministers, they are not in charge of the order paper. So I request
That's
that...
not correct.
Yeah, I request...
We have had issues. We've had an issue in education of regulation. No, it has not been responded. We have had a number of issues which are not responded. Don't even defend yourself. Just get the document and work on it.
Right, Honorable Speaker, that's why I was saying some, but I thank him.
No.
We
not-
are
Get
going
the
to respond
document.
on those issues. If given opportunity, I thank you.
Oh, you had something? Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Was responding on something first.
Are you Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. After the Prime Minister's intervention, I wanted to interrupt
within our rules, the leader of opposition. When you look at the front bench, Right Honorable Speaker, there is no single minister who is despising or undermining you. We are all here. Some are overflooded this other side. Right Honorable Speaker, when we come here and we hear about list of shame, how things we are not.
No, that was the shame was withdrawn.
Yeah, when the leader of opposition was speaking, actually behind him, there were empty seats. The focus should be, we want to give services, legislative services to this country. Right, Honorable Speaker, the call to attend this house should be dual. And so that when we come here, we add value to the debate so that we can move forward this country. It should not be one side, and my good friend here from Masaka, we need to work together so that we can add value. It's not one side.
Honorable O.O.
Look.
Honorable O.O. Much as we are saying it is not one side, I want to give you an example of yesterday. We had very important motions in the House. We had very important. We had very important issues. We came to the House here, and that has been resolved. I don't want to open it up. We had very important issues, but one side was not there. The front bench, not even the Honorable Bahati, who is always the first one in the House, not even him for the first time. And I was even able to call Bahati and say, "Are you sick today?" I had to ask because it was unusual. So all of us are important. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. For the Ministry of Defense, Right Honorable, we wrote to you and the Prime Minister. We are 3 ministers. Today, we are all here. Honorable Sempija is supposed to attend on Tuesday. Honorable Huda attends on Wednesday. And both attends on Thursday. Today, we all came to show that this
There's
house
an
is
order
important.
from Tororo. There's an order from Tororo.
That order.
Honorable.
Thank you.
Honorable members in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation from Kachwamba Abamu Group from Fort Portal City, the tourism city, Fort Portal District. You're most welcome. They are represented by Honorable Ruhunda Alex and Honorable Mugisha Margaret Mohanga and Honorable Linda. You're most welcome. Honorable members, join me in welcoming the team. You're welcome. This is your parliament. Please come again. Yes, procedural matter. Honorable members, we have so many matters of national importance.
Madam Speaker, we started this parliament during the COVID time. There are things that we take for granted. You are dressed the way you are dressed for a reason. We have progressively become casual. I have seen ministers who are dressed like they are going to milk cows. For the speaker to continue dressing the way she is dressed every day, and that tells you the mental frame of some of our colleagues, Madam Speaker. But you are the one who has been lenient. When we raise this matter, you find a way of defending them. You can look at them. I don't have to say names today.
No, you say the names.
Someone enters parliament as if he's going to milk cows.
Say the names.
Like the Honorable Minister for Agriculture, who was saying order before I even mentioned his name. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the casual way that people dress, people attend to Parliament, is the reason on Tuesday we had 2 ministers who brought fake statements and they all asked to take them back. I am speaking about the casual way. Because it is not just a matter of ministers bringing their bodies in Parliament. They must add value. There is one who has been celebrating that all of us are here. You wait when they begin answering. Then you will know that they are actually useless. Because
there is nothing useless. You're responding in anticipation because they've not.
I am speaking.
Listen. They've not started responding to anything. Now you're speaking on anticipation. Honorable members, the Honorable Frank that you're talking about, it's just unfortunate that not all of us can afford Mandela shirts. That's a Mandela shirt. Sarah wants Frank to hang himself. Huh? I know Sarah is used to buttoning. If Sarah wants to come and next item. Honorable members, please.
Item 3, urgent questions by members pursuant to Rule 49 of the Rules of Procedure.
Honorable members, you recall that on Tuesday I promised this House, I promised you that today we will give you 2 hours to respond to bring up your matters of national importance. Unfortunately, you have already used 1 hour. And I am aware that we have a number of ministers here who should be able to respond to your issues. And allow me to start with the Honorable Mutiwa. Honorable Mutiwa. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm concerned about the unnecessary arrest of my people who reside along the railway line in Udumba sub-county and Usolwe rural sub-counties in Butaleja district.
Around the railway line?
Along the railway line.
What are
Madam Speaker, Government of Uganda, through Uganda Railway Corporation, engaged MS China Road and Bridge Corporation.
Honorable members, let's listen. Because at the end of the day, we'll need to know who is an intruder. Yes?
Madam Speaker, Government of Uganda through Uganda Railways Corporation engaged MS China Road and Bridge Corporation to undertake rehabilitation works for the Tororo-Namave railway line, which passes through my constituency. Madam Speaker, the said company employed the security personnel that include the UPDF to take care of their construction materials, but to the contrary, the security personnel have instead resorted to arresting whoever crosses or moves near the railway line, including arresting their animals such as cows, goats, etc., which are grazed in people's land near the railway line. Madam Speaker, to make matters worse, those that are arrested are taken to Sembatia police station, a distance of over 60 kilometers from my constituency, and as a result, many of these people have lost their animals, and many of them pay a lot of money wherever they are taken there. Okay. Madam Speaker, people cross through gazetted roads. We had an incident last week where one person was crossing from Ubalia to go to Busavi, and he was arrested by the security personnel, and they tortured him seriously.
Okay.
Madam Speaker, this issue has been happening for a long time, and my prayers, I want the concerned ministry, that's Minister of Security, to visit the area, assess the ground, and also want these arrests to be stopped. And people who paid their money, if possible, let their money be paid back, because I have a list of very many who have been paying money to the police to either release their animals or to get police bond to be
Honorable Mutiwa, the land where those people are occupying belongs to who?
Madam Speaker, the land is for the people. But what happens, the land where these people are being arrested from are people's land. But what happens, Madam Speaker, is that people gave really land. And you find that, Madam Speaker, where the railway line crosses.
Listen, that is the land that was given by the people to the railway, to URC.
But now when they are cultivating their land next to that one, they come and arrest them. But for last week, the person who was arrested was crossing the railway on a gazetted road. This is a road which runs from Busolwe going to Busabi sub-county. But what happened is these security personnel.
You can't have a gazetted road across the railway.
Madam Speaker, this is a gazetted road that we all use.
Honorable Minister of Works. Honorable Minister of Works.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, first I would request the Honorable Member of Parliament to give me the particulars of that particular person, and I will look at that matter in its own merit. But suffice to say that there is no grazing land along the railway line. So you cannot say you are protecting your people to graze on the railway line. There is even no grass. What are they grazing there? What they graze there is the railway materials. They come there and vandalize them under disguise of grazing. So I'll take that particular issue for the person who was arrested. But you remember, Right Honorable Speaker, here on this floor, Parliament directed that everybody, all those people who are violating and encroaching on the railway land must leave. And that's my position.
There is also no farming land around the railway. Honorable Minister, do we have farming land around the railway line?
None at all, my Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, but give the particulars to the Honorable Minister. Christine Bukoma Nsimbi.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I raise on a matter of national importance regarding the natural disaster which occurred in Bukoma Nsimbi due to extreme weather hazards. Right Honorable Speaker, on the night of Tuesday, 5th September 2023, just 2 days back, Bukoma Nsimbi Town Council was hit by heavy rainfall which caused damage to buildings, infrastructure, crops, and livestock. And as a result, 70 households were totally damaged. My prayer, I request the Office of the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Disaster and Preparedness to send some relief items like food, iron sheets, cement, and seedlings to the 6 villages of Kagando, Chango, Cheguluso, Chitasa, Chanachibi, Bukova, and others in Bukoma Nsimbi Town Council which were affected. Right Honorable Speaker, I have an information on in January 30th, 2023, I raised the same matter. But the response came last week. This happened in Kagologolo Town Council. Last week we got a response from the Office of the Prime Minister. 20,000 kilograms of maize were received. But the report I'm getting from the residents that the maize flour was rotten with the maggots. So this time...
Honorable Christine, I don't want us to debate on hearsay.
That's the report, and
I am saying I want evidence that it was rotten. Come and lay it on table. In the absence of the evidence, withdraw. Until you bring it.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I'm going to ask for them to give me the evidence.
I am saying withdraw Then you bring it and lay it on table.
I'm withdrawing. I'm going to bring and lay it on the table. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
And on your question, do you have a district disaster committee report?
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker.
Ministry, government?
Right Honorable Speaker, I request that the Honorable Member of Parliament can share the report with us so that action can be taken.
Thank you. Honorable Linos.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. On February 2017, I was RDC of Chiriandongo District. The Minister then of Local Government, Honorable Kano Tom Butime, visited Bioyali Market and Chiriandongo Market respectively, because these are Mad and Wato markets, but they belong to local government. So he promised the women that government would take over, local government would take over that market, develop it into a better and respectful market. Unfortunately, 8 years down the road, the Ministry of Local Government has done nothing to the market and our women. When it rains, it's really a problem. My prayer, the local government minister to visit these markets and give assurance to our mothers that government will work or construct these markets. Because if you see what our women go through, it's really saddening. Then finally, every year, Chiriandongo local government subjects these women into yearly bidding to manage the market. And it's a tedious process and promotes corruption as well. So I also pray to the minister to supervise and allow these women to sign a memorandum with the Chiriandongo local government so that they manage this market for a period of 3 or 4 years in order to move on.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the member for raising this important issue. The markets are important for our people, for sale of their commodities, and also for us local governments. They raise some bit of revenue. I will send a technical team to visit Chiriandongo so that we see action that can be taken on these markets. I thank you.
And write back to the member, giving him a response.
Sure.
Thank you.
I will do that, Right Honorable Speaker.
And kindly give me a copy.
Madam Speaker, would it not be procedurally right that the minister simply gives guidelines across the country? Otherwise, if it is going to be applied, in a haphazard manner, every member of parliament must come here and do this. And this is what I said earlier. That's not how people run government. There must be a policy across the country.
Honorable Member is responding to what has been raised. If you had raised an issue that in Kasiru, they call it where?
No, he is not here, but it is Kasiro.
In Busiro, that is a need for a market. But what Honorable Segona is raising is important for you. You need to do it across the whole country and assess where we need a market, a good market like the one we have in Soroti. You make that assessment and see what you can do in different areas. It would help you. It would also help us in the next budgeting process.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I fully agree. Indeed, if there was a question on the policy of government on markets, I would respond to that. But specifically on markets, members will have heard we are constructing markets in a number of the big towns, the municipalities and cities, with the support of the Africa Development Bank. But I take your guidance, Speaker, on looking at the entire framework of markets in the country. Remember, with the support of Honorable Margaret Rwabashaija, we now have a new markets law, and it's that one that we're trying to see how to implement it. We thank her for that. We'll take your guidance, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minister, when we pass the Market Act, bill now an act, have you made a regulation for us to operationalize it? Because it has those aspects that have been raised.
Right Honorable Speaker, the market was assented to on the 22nd of May this year. We have started with some pilots because we are talking of different types of markets. In Kasese, at Wera, we are looking at a cattle market. In Kabare, we are looking at a market with established or where vendors are already in the stalls. Then in Masaka, we are looking at a market fully constructed, but we are trying to operate the law, looking at how to resettle the vendors. So I expect in the next 2 months, we should be able to come up with regulations that take into account the various pilots we have looked at. We shall do that, Right Honorable Speaker.
We have a problem in this house. We've passed so many bills, and we are very proud that we have passed bills, but the regulations to operationalize it are not there completely. We'll wait for the regulations. But people will continue raising these matters, and yet we have failed to get the regulations. Honorable Bitek? Court Bitek? Honorable Stella Apolot?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise under Rule 49 and 54.1 of Rules of Procedure. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise on a matter of national importance regarding the petition by the defunct East African community beneficiaries of Greater Teso region. Madam Speaker, I have received a petition from the chairperson, Greater Teso East
The
African
petition,
community.
the way of tabling petitions or handling petitions is different from matters of national importance. So the petition, bring it to my office for approval first before you bring it on the floor.
Most obliged.
Thank you. Eddie Kwizera, Businje Joab. I'm looking at matters of national importance. Businje Joab.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise on a matter of urgent national importance regarding the fraudulent transfer of title for land in Bururi Block 5, Plot 39 at Kayanja, 52.7 hectares in Nyangaya Division, Masindi Municipality, Masindi District. In this land question, the land in question was in the 1990s offered by the local communities to NTC Masindi, former NTC Masindi, which had hitherto operated on church land. The land was given for educational purposes, and in 2001, a land title was issued in the names of the Board of Governors for National Teachers College Masindi. And when this college was phased out by the Ministry of Education and Sports in 2005, the said land was one of the assets that were passed to Kamuras Teachers College in Masindi. The title was handed to the Ministry of Education and Sports for formal transfer to the Board of Governors of Kamuras PTC Masindi. In the process, Madam Speaker, of identifying land for the establishment of the proposed Bunyoro Public University, we were dismayed to discover that this land was fraudulently transferred to another name in the names of Magali's Distillers Uganda Limited, with a letter of no objection written by one Mr. Mwonjere Medias on the 21st of August 2007 of the Ministry of Education and Sports, the Permanent Secretary. Madam Speaker, in his letter, he incorrectly indicated that His Excellency the President had recommended the investment by Magali's Distillers to Masindi, but yet instead the President's letter directed this investment to Ntungamo. Owing to this, even the mayor of the local government I represent, Masindi Municipality, wrote a petition, and he has come here to see, he's in the galleries, whether I'm raising this matter. In the circumstance, Madam Speaker, I pray that this House causes an investigation into the glaring fraud to bring justice to the people who donated this land for educational purpose. Number two, that this House directs the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development and the Minister of Education and Sports to cancel the transfer of title to Magali's Distillers Uganda Limited and register the land in the names of either Bunyoro Public University or Masindi Municipal Council. Madam Speaker, I beg your permission. I lay a petition to the Minister of State.
Under Rule 30, the petitions are handled in a different way.
Madam Speaker,
give me your prayer.
My prayers are made that you direct an investigation in this fraud and that the Ministers of Lands, Housing and Urban Development and the Minister of Education and Sports of title, because they did it even without the knowledge of the local governments in the district.
Thank you. Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'll call Minister of Education together with Minister of Lands so that we can solve this matter, but Honorable Member of Parliament will also be called so that you can attend that meeting. Thank you.
Honorable members, I happen to see those documents that were brought by Honorable Joab. First of all, the Mayor of Masindi, you're most welcome to Parliament of Uganda. I looked at the documents and there was a letter, a presidential directive to Ntungamo for land to be given. I don't know what happened. They instead gave land from Masindi, not from Ntungamo. And that land that was gazetted for the university, maybe the minister really needs to find out what could have happened for the land belonging to the Minister of Education to be transferred to an individual or to a company. I think that's not correct. Honorable Minister of Education. Are you the one with the rota? Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable.
Where is Honorable Nandala? Yes. It's okay.
Madam Speaker.
You're giving an order on what? On who?
Madam Speaker, a while ago you told us that on Thursday the Minister of Education is represented by the Honorable Ogwang.
I said Honorable Ogwang and Honorable Muyingo.
And the Honorable Ogwang himself brought here a letter saying he's the one, the only one on Thursday who represents the First Lady.
Brought the letter to you?
Is the Honorable Muyingo in order to appoint himself, yet the boss has already appointed the Honorable Gwanga to be here on Thursday.
You know, I don't know whether Honorable Semuju has become my secretary. To the best of my knowledge, that letter was not delivered to me. What I know, Dr. Muyingo is here. Doctor. And all the ministers are here. Any of them can answer.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable
Even the Minister of Finance has come.
Right Honorable Speaker, may I use the same opportunity to inform my brothers?
Answer the issue of the...
Right Honorable Speaker, I've just received the news now. We are going to investigate the matter and I will report back to the House. Right,
kindly, I want you to investigate that matter because that land belongs to Bunyoro University.
Most of likely, right?
And we need a feedback on that issue. Honorable Minister of Finance, you're most welcome. And while you are away, we missed you so much. And we have something that we needed from you. We are going for recess. And as we go for recess, our voters will be asking us for what? For seeds. And we know the only person who can rescue us is you. A very good able minister. Kindly, Honorable Minister, we don't need to have a meeting now since the minister is here. It's just a matter of a minister telling those suppliers, give agriculture the seeds, and we go for 1 month. We need to have the seeds so that we don't continue buying food. Honorable Minister. And I think the cost is only 4 billion shillings. It's only 4 billion.
I beg your pardon, Madam.
The cost of the seeds is only 4 billion shillings.
4 billion shillings. Honorable Speaker, sir, Madam. Deliberately. And colleagues, this issue we discussed it last time. You remember when we were discussing about payment for coffee seedlings and tea seedlings? I think that issue came. I have discussed with the Commissioner General of Prisons because they produce seed, and a good one at that. I am going to, now that you have rejuvenated me, I will go and make arrangement. My only problem is you have to guide me how this seed will be distributed. Do I send them to the...
Honorable Minister.
Yes, Madam.
We always know, the guidelines are there. All you need to do is to provide to the members. Procurement, you give, they always write to the members, come and pick seeds for your constituency, but they go through NADS.
Okay.
Yes.
Mama, I will give you the full facts tomorrow. Tomorrow. No, I know today we are going on recess. Am I right? I will deal with you, Madam Speaker. Then you will communicate to the members of Parliament.
Honorable members, I will communicate to you where to pick the seeds from. Honorable Ariko Herbert, we are on matters of national importance.
Having challenges. Okay.
I have said I will communicate where to pick the seedlings, the seeds from. And now that we are getting from prisons, Those are actually the best seeds. Government to government. Honorable Ariko.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, close to 2 months ago, I was here on this floor to raise a matter regarding constant power blackout that affects Soroti City and all the surrounding areas. Right Honorable Speaker, we all know that His Excellency the President issued a letter to the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development that the Umeme concession is probably one that we are not going to renew. Right Honorable Speaker, the challenges of Umeme are escalating by the day. From the constituency where I come from, Right Honorable Speaker, Umeme no longer replaces transformers. Umeme no longer services the power lines. Umeme does not invest in infrastructure anymore. And yet, Right Honorable Speaker, according to the concession agreement, government and the Ugandans continue to meet their part of the obligations. Right Honorable Speaker, the people that I represent, who comprise those that live in the CBD of Soroti District, most of them involved in manufacturing, industrial work, and other artisanal kind of engagements, cannot operate anymore because they don't have power to work. Madam Speaker, I know the Right Honorable Prime Minister promised that you'll call a meeting in which myself and the Umeme people would be in attendance. Madam Speaker, may I pray? I wish to report that that meeting has not happened. Right Honorable Speaker, I therefore pray that this house that you do chair takes up the matter of Umeme failing to supply electricity to Ugandans and therefore affecting their economic productivity. Right Honorable Speaker, we have a committee that can delve in detail. I grant you an opportunity.
Thank you. Right Honorable Speaker, as you may be aware, in the 9th Parliament, myself in an ad hoc committee chaired by the Honorable Jacob Oboth, I saw him dressed differently today. We did conduct inquiries into the affairs of this sector. And under his able leadership then, we came up with recommendations, including terminating this concession. As we speak today, the prices for electricity have skyrocketed, contrary to the law, because they need, first of all, approval from Electricity Regulatory Authority. And the process involves including advertising in the papers. Now, in addition to what the Honorable Herbert Ariko is saying, even in areas where they are supplying electricity, people can no longer afford it. Businesses are closing down. So, to strengthen the point raised by my colleague and son, the Honorable Ariko, it must be a deeper inquiry. Because I understand, yes, he's my son, 7 years after our report, the president himself came out and said, we ought to terminate. But to date, they are still running, and Ugandans cannot afford the electricity.
Honorable Sergona, you are aware that the Umeme concession is coming to an end soon. Maybe we need to have an exit strategy for Umeme concession.
Right Honorable Speaker, much obliged in accordance with your guidance. That Right Honorable Speaker, before 2025 arrives when the concession terminates itself by expiry of date.
Let's have prayers in regard to the load shedding.
Right, Honorable Speaker, the load shedding, besides what the minister is going to tell us here, requires of him to give this House tangible responses that are punitive in nature, because the concession has certain provisions which make it painful for the service provider to continue acting unilaterally. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
And on top of the load shedding, when the power comes back, it comes when it is heavy, and it destroys the appliances in the house. And at the end of the day, the cost is on you. Honorable Minister.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I thank Honorable Ariko for raising that issue, and also those supplementary questions that have been raised. First of all, the current outage, what Honorable Ariko is pointing out is actually true. We have a challenge in northern eastern Uganda and then eastern Uganda. Currently, there was vandalism that happened in the line which takes power to the eastern region and northeastern. Just after Kakira, 4 pylons were actually brought down, and that caused what Honorable Ariko is talking about currently. We are putting up those pylons temporarily to enable power to flow. However, we were forced to actually bring the power from Karuma, but the wooden line between Lira and Soroti Opuyo could not accommodate the power that's stable enough to enable the manufacturing and all the processes in eastern Uganda and northeastern. We were able only to take through that transmission line 75 megawatts from Karuma. And that power has to be shared in the whole region. And that power, 75 megawatts, is not adequate to actually run all the industries in eastern Uganda. So that explains the rationing of electricity. What is the ministry doing about it? There are a number of measures the ministry has put in place. Number one, to remedy the vandalized line, the transmission line. We are putting temporary structures to enable that line to actually continue taking power to eastern Uganda and northeastern Uganda. The second strategy is on the transmission of power from Karuma. One of our agencies, UEDCL, is actually working on the interconnectors to improve the power flow and also increase the power that can be transmitted from Karuma. Karuma now is producing about 300 megawatts. And if the line is improved, that would enable us to have a circuit, double circuit, which would enable us to provide power from both eastern and also from Karuma to the eastern region and northeastern. The areas which are affected are Tororo, Mbale, Soroti, and the effect of that power surges also affect Moroto. So we are working to improve the power supply in those areas. Now the question on Umeme.
How much timeline have you given for all what you're saying?
Yes, I'll talk to the timelines. One, to improve the transmission line from which was vandalized, we have actually put temporary measures to improve that line to the eastern region and northeastern. The 3 that way.
There's a procedure matter.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, as Honorable Aliko put it, the issues to do with electricity, the way it is supplied, the inefficiencies, all those matter as captured by the presentation of Honorable Aliko were captured by the Committee of Assurance and Implementation, which was led by my deputy, Honorable Seungu, and your committee has a ready report on the matter, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if it would please you, wouldn't it be procedurally okay if you would allow that that report is presented to you so that you consider if it covers that area and the same be listed for discussion in this plenary, Madam Speaker?
Thank you.
I beg that it pleases you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much. It doesn't cause any harm for a member to raise what is urgent in his or her constituency. So for now, let's have a response. Your report will come and we'll discuss the report.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. On Umeme, this House has asked several questions. When does the concession come to an end? And why don't we terminate it? Cabinet decided that we allow the concession to go to it is cost up to 2025. It is cheaper for us than terminating it midway. It was going to be very costly.
And that's why I was telling you need to have an exit strategy.
So now, on the investment of Umeme, to continue reducing the investment costs of Umeme, we have actually slowed them down on investing their money. We only allow them to do activities where we have the money.
Honorable Okasai Opoloto. The question is very simple. How do we mitigate the load shedding? Just tell us in the local way. We don't want those stories. Tell us in a local way that how do we mitigate load shedding? Yes.
I would like to talk about Soroti.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Here.
In 2021, when we were still sitting in the tent, I raised the issue of electricity vandalization in Kar North constituency. Lines were vandalized in 2020. It is under Umeme. It affects my house, even me. I don't have power in my house. So my clarification I'm seeking, because I have heard the Honorable Minister talking about restoration, temporary restoration in the east. What about Kashar North, which I raised a long time ago? When will it be attended to?
Can we have a response for the whole country? Not specifically Soroti, but at least Soroti has raised it. And as I'm saying, I know you're an engineer, but tell us in a way that our voters will understand that we are going to restore power. The load shedding is going to reduce. Give us a response to that. Yes, clarification.
Right Honorable, I thank you.
Is bring a clarification and you bring it to.
I thank you, my senior brother, the leader of the opposition in Parliament, for giving way. Right Honorable Speaker, as the Minister gives us that strategy that he is going to offer this House, he mentioned that they have asked Umeme to slow down on the investment on the grid. Right Honorable Speaker, part of the problem of lack of supply is failed transformers. Transformers can only be replaced by way of investment, and so on and so forth. as he gives this explanation, like you have guided very clearly, in what way is he going to give assurance to the Ugandans that the next 2 years, as we wait for this concession to terminate itself, how are they going to survive by way of business and economic productivity? I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I heard the Minister so well stating that they have since advised Umeme to scale down on investment in the sector. One of the indictments on Umeme is failure to invest as per the concessional agreement. So is the Minister informing the country that Umeme has overinvested, and therefore you have advised them to scale down on investment? Members are reporting vandalism and failure of replacement of transformers and basic repairs. Has Umeme overinvested beyond the concession?
Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. To answer your question, what are we going to do? What does the ministry plan to do to ensure reliable supply of electricity countrywide? One, controlling vandalism. And this one is about all of us, because it is in your constituencies, it is in my constituency that vandalism takes place. We must get involved in controlling vandalism. In Kashari, it is vandalism. In eastern Uganda, it is vandalism. In your district, can I continue?
Let the minister first finish.
I've
then.
given you one measure: control vandalism. The second one, we have.
But he's also saying that there are no transformers. So how will they vandalize what is not there?
Honestly, it is not only the lines which are vandalized, they actually siphon off transformer oil, which is common knowledge. So vandalism is a primary cause of power upsurges. The second one, wherever it is reported, we actually provide clearance for Umeme to replace the transformers. But where there is no report, we cannot clear. And we have attended to very many areas where reports were made. The third measure, the Honorable Lope actually talked about what is the sustainable mechanism to do this. And why should we stop Umeme from investment? The project which you approved has been declared effective, and we're actually going to use it for sustainability of the power supply to wherever power there are upsurges of electricity. And then for Honorable Wariko, yes, Umeme may have continued and made many of us comfortable. When it is true, Umeme had invested, and we owe Umeme a lot of money. And I actually came here one time and requested that can we provide a supplementary, and was not given, to pay off Umeme. And we have got to continuously reduce the buyout amount for Umeme, or else we shall not, in the agreement, Umeme will only relinquish the supply when we have paid the amount which we owe them. So we're actually mindful of the future than what it is now. And we have interim measures to provide electricity to the country as of now. I wish to submit, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister. I need an answer for what has been asked. We need an answer. What we've gotten is not the way our people understand. We need the response to that. You may give a response through action. How do you work on the issue of load shedding? And it's not only in Soroti or whichever place, even here in Parliament. I can tell you now we're on a generator in Parliament. Yes. We get load shedding in this building over 3 times in a day. And we don't know what is happening. Now, what about Soroti, which is far? What about Kabale, which is over outside this country? So we need a response to that through action. Honorable Apa, Lucy.
So most obliged, right, Honorable Speaker.
You need to move throughout the whole country and have that sorted out. Lucy?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise on a matter of urgent and very painful situation that happened on the 30th of August at around 3 p.m., where a group of about 100 people invaded a village called Bedmont in Apa, killed 4 people, injured 10 people, and about 8 people are unaccounted for up to now. Madam Speaker, if you saw the pictures that were circulating in the social media, very painful situation. The bodies were ferried, tied on borders, and then taken to Mungula Hospital under the watch of our good police officers. Just 2 days before this incident happened, the people in Apa raised a security alert. And for your information, Apa is so lucky that there is an army barracks and a police station. They reported the incident that they are seeing suspicious movements of people. And the army and the security did nothing until we lost lives. Well, the issue of Apa has come here I don't know how many times. But what pains is the continuous human rights abuse violations with impunity. And why I say impunity, because no single human being has ever been arrested. And on a cumulative number of over 30 people so far killed in Apa, no single human being has ever been arrested for killing people, for killing Ugandans. And that is why I call it impunity. We have a barracks there and no one is doing anything. My prayer, Madam Speaker, is that the people of Apa deserve better and their security must be guaranteed. 2, that this parliament finds it necessary to revisit its decision that it made in 2002 that is causing the lives of people. And in my thinking, that decision was made when the people of Acholi were in IDP camps, and their decision was not sought on, and the place was gazetted. So my prayer is you come to the rescue of the people. As I speak now, 286 houses were burnt down, and people have nowhere to sleep.
There's information from Santa.
Honorable Santa, thank
President
you.
Santa had raised that issue on Tuesday, and she can complement.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. The information I want to give to the House is that on this issue of Apa, but before that one, I want the honorable members who don't know to get to know that I'm a shadow minister for special regions, and the special regions are 5, one of which is northern Uganda. On the same issue of APA, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, listen to the minister speaking.
We were all surprised because the president of this country has so far set about 3 different commissions to try to find out about the boundaries of Acholi, Amoro, and then the Madi. The 2 other commissions did not put the report in the floor of Parliament. Recently, the president has again put another commission headed by the former Chief Justice Bart Katurebe on the issue of this land of APA. But we were surprised. The whole of Acholi sub-region got surprised that on Saturday, the president and one of his daughters went to Gulu to hold some prayers in Boma ground. And the president made a shocking statement that the land in APA belongs to the Madi. Even before the commission stepped foot in APA, this was a very surprising statement, because the people who were killed in APA, the 4 people, are not the Madi people. They are the Acholi people. If that land belonged to Madi, these 4 people who were killed should have been the Madi people. I am thinking that some people want to bring confusion and conflict between the Acholi people and the Madi people for their other intentions. So that's why we want the government really to come and explain to us why, who are these people? Because the all Acholi people are now concerned.
Honorable Santa, we may not be able to rely on what you're saying the president said. Since the president is not in this house, we cannot discuss about him. If you say the passing statement, it's not something that we can refer in this house. The fact is that we need to have issues of APA resolved. That is a fact. Because this thing has been there for long, too long. We are seeing so many dead bodies. I don't know which minister is going to respond to. The Prime Minister.
Much obliged, Honorable Speaker.
General Katumba would be in a better position, really. He has been okay.
Right, Honorable
Listen
Speaker.
to the Prime Minister.
His Excellency the President has put up a commission of inquiry, and I want us to be patient, though the Minister of Security or ministers in charge of security should be taking up all the urgent issues as far as APA is concerned. But the Commission of Inquiry is already in place, so we are waiting as they also handle the urgent issues. Thank you, Right Honorable.
Honorable.
I want to call Honorable O.O.
A right to live. We need those people secure. That is what is most important. As we wait for the report from the Commission, come and tell us how you're going to protect our people.
Takes it. Right, Honourable Speaker, thank you. And the comfort given by the Prime Minister is well accommodated. The 3rd commission in line is well received. And I hope the people of Acholi and the people of Madi will take it in good faith. Remember, Right Honourable Speaker, that the 2nd commission was led by none other than General Moses Ali. And you remember the flares on this floor over the same. because of conflict of interest. The issue of the president decreeing on who owns land is public information, right, Honourable Speaker. And that is most disturbing to the people in northern Uganda. The president, after putting up a commission, decreed the owners. And that is a bit disturbing, that decree was made by the president.
I cannot rule on what I did not hear.
Much obliged,
I
Honourable
did not
Speaker.
hear it.
Now
If you're in Igulu and you heard it, Lob did not hear. Lob is just relying on what
Right,
is-
Honourable Speaker, you know my office is a consumer of intelligence information, right, Honourable Speaker. Right, Honourable Speaker,
Honourable members,
what should you come to
please.
bear?
There's information from no.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to, the Prime Minister talks about the judicial...
You're debating. I thought you were giving him information.
I'm giving information. The Prime Minister is talking about the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, that they will solve this problem. But I want to inform that even with the...
First of all, I don't want Acholis to speak, and I don't want West Nilers to speak. You are the ones who are causing these problems. You politicians of Acholi and West Nile. For me, first of all, what I want is, let's first secure the people. You're all conflicted. Honorable Minister. Honorable, you're conflicted. You're going now to start talking about...
Of course, the minister should give us assurance, but also to assure the Honourable Lucy Akello that the allegation of intelligence being received by security and ignored it should be responded to, that actually intelligence was delayed and not responded to is a matter the minister should react to. Otherwise, he will be, as a minister, liable in criminal negligence. He is aware of his duty. Right, Honourable Speaker, again, that we are aware that this time round the report from the commission will be made public. Otherwise, a third commission in line without one being made public is suspect, Right, Honourable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't want us to reduce the issues of our power to a land issues or boundary issues. What is happening now is criminality. The aspect of killing people. Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I sympathize and I share the sorrow of hearing those great Ugandans being murdered or killed. I'm getting this from this House, from Honourable Member of Parliament, Lucy Akello. And she knows I've been to Amuro with her, among other people. I pray that, Right Honourable Speaker, you allow us, as the three ministries, security, police, internal affairs, and defense, to caucus with the honourable member so that we can find a way forward, especially to make sure that the area is secured and the people are secured. We can make that undertaking right away.
Thank you. Right Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Yakobo Oboso and I have known each other for a long time. And I want to insist, including against his protest, that he's an intelligent man that is able to appreciate these issues. The matter where you guided and that I had earlier sought to raise on is a matter of life and death. Informing us that the four ministries or whichever, you know, they are mutilated in so many subsections, intend to sit is diversionary. What you demanded, and I'm behind you 100%, Madam Speaker, are immediate measures to ensure security and tranquility. We can wait for this report, even including for 1,000 years, as long as the beneficiaries of the report will be alive. We have so far lost 30 from the reports. I have been looking at the person I designated by description to be Prime Minister today, not Deputy. And this is the person who is supposed to be coordinating the ministries. But she's quiet and is not giving us any way forward about providing security as a matter of immediate concern. The others could be policy issues. Are we proceeding well? I saw Honorable Both leaving the microphone without guarantees as of now.
Honorable Medad, it is unfortunate that you came before. You got the microphone before you finished. And the Prime Minister, by calling Honorable O.O., was a coordination role. Not come and give us a position from the security perspective. So she's doing her work.
As I conclude, I know that Honorable Medad is missing me, but the honest truth is that the meeting of the three ministers does not have to take a day. It can be just a matter of a phone call from here. And we have the security infrastructure already there. We are going to find out more details, and we act. This government cares. Thank you.
Honorable O.O. kindly coordinate the issue of protecting the people of Apa. Let's have the lives protected. Honorable Silwanyi.
Right Honorable Speaker, I raise on a matter of national importance, and it is concerning the Civil Aviation Authority in Entebbe. Right Honorable Speaker, the new departure terminal that was commissioned last year by His Excellency the President. As I talk today, when it rains, Right Honorable Speaker, there is a lot of tension. The whole place floods. Actually, when rain is coming, there is a lot of tension. The officers are almost looking for buckets. Right Honorable Speaker. In the departure lounge, Right Honorable Speaker, I've shared photos with several members, and I've even forwarded a photo to the Minister General, to the General. I don't know if he has received. The situation is very bad. Why would we have a departure lounge that is flooding? You cannot walk. The water is almost at the knee. Right Honorable Speaker. Yes, honorable members, I have the photos.
What are your prayers?
My prayer is the Minister of Works immediately gives us a response to this matter and have it sorted, because the tourists are starting to run away. They are getting discouraged. And you know, the airport is our face.
Honorable members, do you have the factual information, or it is social media information? Because the social media of Uganda can write anything. They can do anything. So if you have the pictures, the actual pictures from the ground, can you lay on table?
Right Honorable Speaker, what I'm talking is not hearsay. I saw it by my eyes. Right Honorable Speaker. When I saw it by my eyes, Right Honorable Speaker, I took photographs, which I have been sharing with the members.
There is a procedural matter.
Madam Speaker, this is the Parliament of Uganda, and it is being watched internationally. And then we have a commissioner here without evidence.
Honorable members, just first sit. You know that place is under construction. You could have taken a picture from where they are constructing from. Now, don't make our visitors to fail to come to Uganda, because they will not have a way of exiting Uganda. Let's not use let's not use the WhatsApp messages, the media messages, for us to make sure to destroy our own country. Honorable Minister, it is not true.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I really appreciate. Honorable members, we all belong to this country. This is the only nation we have. And we must, if something is happening to our nation, we should not go out and make it even look worse than what it is. It's not true that the departure lounge was commissioned last year. The president has never commissioned anything on that airport. So that's not true.
General,
Secondly, the
General,
departure
cool
lounge.
down.
Yes, ma'am. Secondly, the departure lounge is under construction. We are doing an expansion of both the departure lounge and the arrivals. And we have targeted October, before the Independence Day, for those two facilities to be opened. Now, during construction, there are some areas which have not yet been fully finalized. Where the tent, those who have traveled through the airport, where the tent is, this is the area he's referring to. So please, let's be nationalistic. The press has not flooded, as he says, that the water is up to the knees.
Please listen
so
to
it's not true.
By the way, the person speaking is a general. So listen to general. Honorable members, the Entebbe airport, that place is very, very safe. I just came this morning and I used the same terminal. And when you're constructing, even if it is your own house, automatically that happens. So let's be proud of our country, and we should not discourage other people from coming in. Ebwalu, yes, diplomacy, Solomon, Honorable Solomon, first withdraw your statement.
Right, Honorable Speaker, in the interest of the country.
Honorable Solomon, Commissioner, withdraw your statement.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I withdraw.
And apologize.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Apologize. Apologize.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Apologize.
Order. Order.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I withdraw the statement, but
apologize.
Right, Honorable Speaker, maybe I seek your guidance to apologize for what?
For bringing social media information, false information.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I apologize.
Thank you. Ebwalu.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on the 14th of December 2021, I raised a matter of land grabbing in Soroti District, one concerning the Soroti Golf Club that has been grabbed from the owners. This is public land, government land, measuring up to 40 acres of land. Right Honorable Speaker, the land has been grabbed by a company called Pilgrim, and they have subdivided it into two. That is between Pilgrim and then Shinda.
There is an order. Honorable Seno, honorable members, I am constrained to give Honorable Seno the microphone because I know the history. You're a member of Pilgrim. Please go ahead and raise your issue.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the protection. Madam Speaker, the same company called Pilgrim has gone ahead to grab land of the Uganda Broadcasting Services, UBC, in Dakabela. They duped the president. Now they are planting trees in that land. Madam Speaker, The Soroti Golf Club now is being guarded by soldiers. Soldiers are all over that place. You cannot reach that place. And they have started construction of a hotel in that place. Anybody who passes in that land is arrested. Madam Speaker, on the 14th, I laid here on the floor of Parliament documents. You ably referred this matter to the Attorney General to follow and report to this Parliament. But just like my leader of the opposition said here, there is a lot of backlog. The Attorney General has never reported back to this Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, my prayer is that you find it placed to refer this matter to the committees, to relevant committees in Parliament, so that this matter can be investigated and reported back to Parliament. I thank you. I take information.
Honorable member, I don't want you people to bring your Soroti issues here. Don't bring Soroti. This issue, Honorable Prime Minister, there was an aspect of the Gulf Coast land that was raised in this house and the Attorney General was supposed to handle. There was also an issue of UBC land. UBC land is in my report, our report with the Honorable Segona when we were still in Kosase of 236 acres. That is in the process of being grabbed. So we need that issue to be resolved. Can we have the Committee of Infrastructure? Committee of Infrastructure.
Guidance, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
I appreciate your guidance, and I'm very glad you have a vivid memory of what we traversed in respect to UBC. One aspect that remains outstanding that has been stated is the presence of soldiers guarding suspected land grabbers.
That is okay. I'm going to rule on that.
And you have a minister there.
That is okay. I want the committee to look at the Sage properties, but then on the issues of security guarding the Sage land. Can we hear from the minister?
The issue of the soldiers being deployed to guard either private or the property in question is a matter that I've also just heard from here.
Honorable Minister, can you make a phone call to Soroti and give me a feedback? That's government land, your land.
With your permission, allow me to exit the plenary so that I can...
Please, and respond.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for your kindness over this matter. Allow me a minute or less to raise a red flag.
Honorable, we may have another issue on security. Just hold on. Yes, please.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Allow me, now that you have informed the House that you are sending members into their constituencies, to raise a red flag in earnest to members of Parliament, especially members of Parliament coming from urban authorities, cities and municipalities, that actually there is an ongoing syndicate of denuding local governments of assets in so many local governments, denuding cities, municipalities of their assets. Public servants in the cities and municipalities are conniving with the politicians in some places and the officers in the Ministry of Lands, the land registry. In so many municipalities and cities, public land is being parceled and titles sitting upon titles. I would like to invite, of course, with the indulgence of the Speaker, the member wants to give information.
We are stopping these matters now.
Yeah, Right Honourable Speaker, the red flag for the attention of the House, for members use this recess to go and check on the asset registers of their local governments. something amiss and sinister, deliberate is going on, please go and conduct a citizen arrest. In my constituency, I've just arrested one asset being transferred. So the syndicate sharing and selling public assets. And I would like to alert the Minister of Lands and the Minister of Local Government to issue a circular stopping the transfer of public assets and even audit public assets. Cities and municipalities don't have asset registers. When demand for them, they either give excuses. It will be the prerogative of this. Right Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Member is a senior and is insistent. Allow me to cede ground for him. Thank you.
Honourable Magesi, can you respond to that? And on the issue of the circular?
I thank you, very right honourable Speaker, and I thank the Leader of Opposition for raising this very important matter. Right honourable Speaker, I see on the order paper we have a report of our Committee of Public Service and Local Government, and this matter is covered under that. But I can quickly say we have issued 2 circulars to the 10 districts and cities, the 10 districts which mothered the cities. There is nobody allowed to sell, to exchange, to dispose of public land within these areas. And we know that under the Public Finance Management Act, such actually requires the approval of Parliament, and I have not submitted any request to you, right honourable Speaker.
That is on the policy, but it is in actual sense, it is happening. It is ongoing.
Right honourable Speaker, allow me to make a request through you to the House. Right honourable Speaker, the critical asset in these cities, which is a matter for us as local government, as a sector, is the headquarter of the district, of those districts which mothered those cities. They need to shift. It is actually a big matter. All we request is we need at least 1 billion right now to make sure that we start the process of relocating these districts. Immediately this is done. Right honourable Speaker, I want to give you the assurance. Within the next 1 to 2 months, we are having asset negotiations between the cities and those districts, and we shall resolve this matter. This is a pertinent request I'm making to you.
You know, what the members are raising is the sale of the assets. Don't talk about the building alone. Even the land is an asset. So these people are even selling the land.
Right honourable Speaker, those are fraudulent.
Panado was here
sales.
raising an aspect of the Green Park in Iganga being sold.
Information. Right honourable Speaker, that is illegal, and such people must be arrested. It is totally illegal. We shall investigate. We are going to send a team next week, straight away,
Honourable members,
to investigate this matter in all the 10
members,
cities.
as you go to your constituencies, interest yourself in these things. Please do. Edie?
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Right Honourable Speaker, the issue of land is a very sensitive issue because land is an asset, not only to individuals, but to government. Right Honourable Speaker, there is something that the government should investigate in the Ministry of Land. I raised a matter here that there is an area in my constituency, Winya County South. There is a forest reserve that hasn't been degazetted. But the Ministry of Lands has continued to issue land titles on the area that hasn't been degazetted, though there is a will by His Excellency the President that he expressed to the people about 48 villages to be degazetted. But this has to be done through Parliament. I wonder how the ministry can issue land titles on an area that hasn't been degazetted. Right, Honorable Speaker, this is regarded as a forest as I talk now. You find NFA chasing people day after day. In an area where Minister of Lands is issuing land titles. Right, Honorable Speaker, yesterday you met a delegation of leaders from Mayuge. They raised their petition through your office, Right, Honorable Speaker, and I want to beg that you give me an opportunity. I process this petition.
Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg that you give me an opportunity after recess to raise a petition of the local leaders from Mayuge who met you yesterday and decry the issues of land titles issued in an area that hasn't been degazetted.
Okay. Honorable members, on the issues of public land, government land, lands should not transfer any public land before we finish these investigations. And I'm giving an order, land should not transfer. Public land everywhere. Because you cannot transfer a public land like what Joab was talking about. You're transferring land belonging to a school, a land belonging to a market. A land, there is a land just next to me here in Nakasero. A football pitch being transferred. Benji, then Sarah. Patrick, Benji, yes.
Right Honorable, would like to take this up as government. Give us 2 months, local government and lands together. We're going to investigate this, take action and submit a report to you.
And honorables, as you go to for recess, where you see there is this anomaly, take action. Don't wait for these 2 months.
Motion.
Yes.
Motion, Madam.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, I'm concerned with the irregular impounding of animals by Nile Fiber Board Limited, which is currently manding Chikonda Forest Reserve. That is Chankwanzi district. Right Honorable, this vast forest reserve.
Honorable Prime Minister, are you listening?
This vast forest reserve, Right Honorable, stretches through 4 sub-counties, Bananywa, Nsambya, Chigando, Ntunda, and it has very open borders. Right Honorable, there is an animal keeping community surrounding this forest reserve, and quite often animals stray into the forest reserve. They are impounded. This company, they have their own animal detention centers, and when the animals are impounded, they are charged per animal at rates that are not justified, and they are not issued with the receipts, Right Honorable Speaker. In the circumstance, Right Honorable Speaker, my prayer is that perhaps the Ministry of Environment, Water and Environment prevails over Nile Fiber Board to prevent this act, because the community is completely impoverished, Right Honorable Speaker. And also, perhaps we can do an assessment to ascertain the kind of damage caused. The Ministry of Agriculture can help us, because this is an animal keeping community which is being affected, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, before I go to the issue of the animals, I want the Ministry of Lands, I'm instructing them not to transfer any title belonging to government to individuals, because they are getting an opportunity, those individuals are getting opportunities to steal the government land, because they know when they come to Minister of Lands, that the titles can be transferred. So like Honorable Maggie said, they will work together to say that they come back here with an action taken. Secondly, Right Honorable, on the issue of the forest,
Thank you, Right Honorable.
the Honorable...
Procedure matter.
There's
a procedure matter.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, it's disturbing to see the Prime Minister also requesting the Minister of Lands not to issue land titles.
She said she's instructing.
My procedure matter, Right Honorable, is we have suffered with the Minister of Lands for so long. Now that it has affected the Prime Minister in her district, we should not only stop on the statement of stopping to issue. Can we really investigate who are the people behind this, Right Honorable? Because Right Honorable, somebody doing that knows very well that this is a government land and they know what they are doing. So when we just say we stop, they will disguise as if they are stopping and they can. So can we really, through your office, dig to the last root of this, Right Honorable?
Honorable members, I saw the Committee of Infrastructure. Do you have any information?
Right Honorable Speaker, I heard the Minister for Local Government requesting for 1 month. 2 months to go and sit with the Ministry of Lands to harmonize. To me, I see this as a connivance. These two ministries want to sit and harmonize on how to share government land. I am of a view, Right Honorable Speaker, that we don't trust...
Honorable members, listen to Daudi.
I am of a view that as Parliament, we don't trust these two ministers. You refer this matter to the committee that is responsible so that the committee investigates properly and comes back here with a...
There is an order. There is an... Honorable members, I saw the Committee of Infrastructure investigating lands, and it is ongoing. So the Committee of Infrastructure should give us a report. Yes?
Right,
you have
Honorable
an
Speaker.
order?
I heard my wonderful brother saying, we don't trust these ministers. They are conniving to steal government land. Right, Honorable Speaker, it is Parliament which approved us. It really...
But
it is... these are the ministries in charge of government service delivery. Without any substantive evidence, without substantiating the members' assertion. Right, Honorable Speaker, is it in order for Honorable Commander to assert that ministers of local government and lands are not trustworthy and they should not be entrusted with government work? Is it in order?
Honorable member, if there was no evidence in place that the land that belongs to government is not being transferred, then it would be wrong. But the fact that there is even somebody who raised an issue here that the land belonging to Bunyoro University, where our able minister of finance comes from, is being transferred to a private person. So it's in order.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, we agreed we have, I know I still have members who will continue from there. We also need some good business. A response from on Binji's issue.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm going to call the minister in charge to take up this issue.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, at the beginning of this year, the Ministry of Education and Sports issued guidelines, a calendar for schools to follow, school opening and closing. But continuously, Right Honorable Speaker, I have been observing schools having their own calendars. As we speak now, as per the calendar issued by the Ministry of Education, schools are supposed to open for the third term on the 18th of September. However, there are schools that are opening on 10th, 9th, 10th over this weekend. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to know from the Minister of Education whether these school calendars were just issued for formality or whether schools are supposed to comply with them. This is the matter that I want to know, because that has an effect, stressing parents with school fees. Children have just come back home, hardly 2 weeks, they are supposed to report back. So, Right Honorable Speaker, and even the children are supposed to rest, but you find a child comes home, hardly 2 weeks, they are supposed to report back. And that has an effect on the mental health of both the parent and the child. So, Right Honorable Speaker, can I find out from the Minister of Education whether these schools, I want to appreciate Honorable Muyingo, I have seen your circulars, schools are opening on 18th, but others are not complying. So can I find out whether it's for the sake?
Is it on the same? Honorable members, on matters of national importance, we will first stop on that. We will give the two reports of PAC. Then we come back to matters of national importance. We must finish them. If we finish now, all the matters, these ministers will take off. Yes,
thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I just wanted to seek a clarification from Honorable Sarah on whether it could be possible for her to specifically guide the ministry on this, the examples of the schools that have actually opened now, so that when they're investigating, they are certain of which schools, because I'm aware of some schools that have not opened.
Christine.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to support the position of Honorable Saro Pendi. Madam Speaker, as we're speaking now, there are already schools operating, and they have termed it a holiday program. And in the regulations from Ministry of Health, that is even not allowed. As I speak, Tororo Girls is on because my daughter is there. So how much time do they give students to rest as they prepare for third term? Madam Speaker, it is especially private schools that don't respect the programs of government, and they think that is one way.
Is Tororo Girls a private school?
No, it is a government, but I'm giving in terms of percentage. So what my brother is saying, Madam Speaker, if given time, we can give a list of schools that are operating now, and yet others are going to open on the 11th of this month. No, before 18th, there are those opening on the 11th. I know some of them. Thank you.
Honorable, no, that is still, Kumi is still the same. That is still Kumi. Kumi, your woman has talked, so for you sit. Silo, you have something else?
Right Honorable, you see, when my woman member of parliament speaks, it's good for me to compliment. So I have the other part of the point. Besides the parents being stressed, families don't have the opportunity to parent the children. We do not have the time with the children. So that is the real point. People don't have the time. Within 1 month, within 1 week, they have taken away the child. When do we have that touch, that parental touch? I think that's the point I wanted to stress. So I think, thank you so much.
Honorable members, Silo has raised a very important issue. On top of the financial stress, you don't have time for your children, and then you, at the end of the day, you fail in parenting. When is the exact day of reporting to schools as the ministry?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. First of all,
I would like to begin by thanking colleagues for raising these pertinent issues. But, Madam Speaker, it's also important that I request our colleagues, our offices are open. We have an office here in the members' house. It would be prudent that some of this very useful information is given to us for actions. Because now, Honorable Saropen, I just want you to tell us the names of the schools. Like my honorable colleague has mentioned of Kumi, she has identified Tororo Girls. So as the Minister of Education, we might be issuing circulars. We might be giving the dates of when schools are going to be open, and the proprietors of these schools don't follow. So it's important. We are given Tororo Girls. We are going to follow up with Tororo Girls. Why have you reopened the school before the official date of opening of schools? That's the information that we need. I thank you.
Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister. Honorable members, listen. Honorable members, it takes you back to what I was raising the other day. Much as you give out to the circulars, the monitoring process. Who monitors?
Madam Speaker, first of all, we have district education officers across the country. We have district inspectors across the country. The ministry is housed here in the Embassy House. We have chief administrative officers across the country. In terms of monitoring the circulars and follow-up, it is the respective officers I've mentioned who are meant to follow up, and us at the ministry. I thank you.
Daudi, honorable members, I am going to wait for a response from the minister. Even when the House is on recess, write it to me on your findings. Yes, Daudi?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. It is very good that we have received information from Honorable Peter Ogwang, how they have a district inspector of schools, how they have a DEO,
cow,
how they have a cow, and how they have a ministry here. And the Honorable Minister has had information from the two members complaining about schools in various districts. I am just seeking clarification from the Minister. Of all the departments you have mentioned that are monitoring, according to you, are they really working or they are just there occupying space?
Madam Speaker, first of all, I want to put this on record. It is true we have these respective officers who are employed by the government of Uganda. It is true Parliament appropriates money for these specific officers to work for on behalf of the people of Uganda. Failure by an officer to do his work should not be a responsibility to be tagged to the entire government. It's your role to work for Uganda. I want that to go on record. And for that purpose, Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, it is our responsibility as members of Parliament to monitor and to carry out oversight of the entire government. Now that she has raised, I have asked, can I be given a specific name of the school so that we follow up as the Minister of Education and Sport? I thank you.
Right Honorable, the Honorable Saro Pendi and the Member of Parliament from Kumi, including myself, we are privileged that we can come to this house and talk and give you this information. What happens to a villager who is there watching this TV, who cannot access you, who cannot access a DEO, who is not an MP? What is going to happen to that villager?
Honorable members, when you continue making noise, why don't you listen? When one person is speaking, give that person to speak. Honorable members, I know there is laxity in our teams. Say the DEO, the inspector of schools, the cow. However, I want to refer you to the Constitution. What is our role as leaders? What is our role as leaders? One of our very vital role is oversight. And I have told you members, don't wait for anybody to take action. You're responsible for that district. Take action when you get such things are happening. Now, Sarah, you have been knowing that information. The Ministry of Education is not very far from here. Why were you keeping that information? Why don't you take the information to the respective ministries? But also respective ministries, how many times do you get reports from the district, from each district? And that's what takes us back to the issue of regulations. We have a law, but we have no regulations. Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, as the Minister of Education, we will come back to Parliament and lay the regulations, what we have come up with. I thank you.
What is the date you're giving this country for opening of schools?
Madam Speaker, the official date of opening schools is 18th. It's like Honorable Otharo Openda said. It's 18th September. That's official.
In the circumstance that you get a school that has opened before 18th, what are you going to do?
That is now an area where I'm asking for specific schools for action, because it's again as a policy of government. Yeah.
Procedure.
Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister.
We want to know what.
Honorable Minister. The people, the members that are here are parents. The members who are here are parents and they know what is happening. It's not a matter of us having a debate. We need to guide this country.
Madam Speaker, I want to put it on record and I want to call upon my honorable colleagues. First of all, it is a policy of government and a directive of government that schools must open on 18th.
Have you issued a circular to that effect?
Madam Speaker, before it was issued to the entire country. Yes, that and is the reason most members of Parliament here know that the official opening of schools is on 18th.
Honorable Minister and a member of Parliament of Ngariam, can we have that circular saying that schools open on the 18th laid on table?
I'll bring that on Tuesday.
No.
Madam Speaker, maybe.
Honorable Minister, I can give you time to get out, pick the circular, and lay it on table. We will give you 10 minutes as we go to the next item.
Most obliged, Right Honourable Speaker.
We will allow you to lay when you come. Next item. Next item.
Item 4. Motion for adoption of the report of the Public Accounts Committee, Central Government, on the report of the Auditor General on national, regional referral hospitals and other specialized
Honorable
health
members, can I have order in the House? We have a very important motion. Honorable members, as I guided yesterday, the House will accord a very significant part of our time for the reports from PAC. We need these reports from PAC. The Minister of Finance needs these reports from PAC for his other activities. We are going into a budgeting period and we need these reports to be considered here. And as you know very well that the Constitution gives us 6 months under Article 163(5) of the Constitution. These reports are supposed to be submitted within 6 months. And as I said yesterday, the other day, if the reports are not going to be submitted by end of the month, say by the beginning of next month, we'll adopt them omnibus. For today, we have a report from PAC, and I want to invite the chair of PAC to give us an executive summary. And I want to ask the clerk to upload the reports, all of them. Well, thank you. Chair. Yes, Mr. Procedure.
Madam Speaker, you had
instructed the Minister of State for Defense not to exceed, and I thought you were going to allow me, because I was on your list, to raise the issue of the plight of UPDF officers.
I am going to allow you after these reports. I have, as I've said before, that you will continue with the matters of national importance after Park Central. So the minister can first go and confirm the issues of Soroti Golf Course. And APA. We need security in APA.
Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity and also invite you to ask the member, Honorable Kabanda from Kasambia, to keep quiet. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the Public Accounts Committee, Central Government, permit me to present the reports of the committee after scrutinizing the report of the Auditor General in respect of the health sector, and particularly the following institutions. There are quite a number, but as you guided me, I have prepared an executive summary, and the reports have been uploaded onto the members' iPads. But before I proceed to do that, permit me to lay on table the minutes as required by the rules in respect of all the proceedings of the committee.
Please,
I humbly do so. Permit me also to lay on table, as a matter of procedure and constitutional requirement, one of the annexure to the committee report is a report of the CID as tasked by the committee in respect of the affairs of the existence of coffee shops established by the Office of the Prime Minister and a private partner, Inspire Africa Limited, in selected districts, which the committee established to be non-existent despite the expenditure of 20 billion Uganda shillings.
Please,
I lay the report of the CID on table. Right Honourable Speaker, with respect to the regional referral hospitals and other specialized health votes, I now to proceed with the summary as guided. Madam Speaker and honourable members of Parliament, Article 163(4) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda mandates the Auditor General to submit to Parliament an annual report of all accounts audited by him for the financial year immediately preceding. The Constitution further, under Article 163(5), requires Parliament to debate and consider the report and take appropriate action within 6 months after the submission of the Auditor General. The report of the Auditor General on regional and national referral hospitals for the fiscal year 2021-22 was presented and adopted and sent on the 19th of February and referred to the Public Accounts Committee, Central Government, for consideration. In accordance with Rule 174 of the Rules of Procedure of the House, the committee considered these reports and proceeded to satisfy itself, among others, that the monies appropriated by Parliament and disbursed were legally available for and applicable to the service or purpose for which they have been applied and charged. The expenditure conforms to the authority which governs it. C. Reappropriation has been made in accordance with the provisions of the rules of a competent authority, and the intended value of the expended monies was attained. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the scope of our report. The report covers audit queries contained in the report of the Auditor General for the period ended 30th June 22 in respect of the national and regional referral hospitals, namely Mulago National Referral Hospital, Mulago National Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital, Butabika National Mental Referral Hospital, Kawempe, Chirudu and China-Uganda Friendship Hospitals, and others include Entebbe Hospital, Mubende, Kabale, Jinja, Soroti, Lira, Gulu, Erua, Hoima Regional Referral Hospitals. In addition, the report further covers findings on other specialized health-related institutions and votes, as well as programs such as the Uganda Cancer Institute and the Uganda Virus Research Institute. The methodology adopted by the committee included holding meetings with accounting officers and staff of the mentioned votes. The committee further conducted desk research to understand the legal and policy provisions relating to appropriation, disbursement, expenditure, and accountability of public funds. The committee examined the report of the Auditor General in respect of all the entities in issue for the accounts for the year under review, the memoranda, responses, and other documents submitted by witnesses, to whom we are grateful for the industry exhibited. Right Honourable Speaker, because of the volume of the report, allow me present an overview of the general observations and recommendations on issues that cut across almost all the entities of the sector. I beg your indulgence that members may be allowed to refer to the report uploaded on the iPads for the details of and findings as well as recommendations. General observations and recommendations. Implementation of quantified outputs. Section 13 and 15B of the PFMA provides that a policy statement submitted by vote shall contain an annual and 3 months work plans, outputs, targets, and performance indicators of work plans. Equally, Regulation 11.3 of the PFMR 2016 requires that a vote should prepare work plans that indicate the outputs of the vote for the financial year, the indicators that are to be used to gauge the performance of the outputs, and the funds allocated to each entity or activity. Beg your pardon. From the report of the Auditor General, most votes for listed did not implement the outputs fully, despite having received the required funds. Many accounting officers the committee interacted with attributed this partial implementation to the lockdown instituted by government at the time as a measure to curb the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. Should be noted, however, that although COVID-19 disruptions were a reality, health workers were categorized as essential workers at the time and therefore expected to carry on implementing some of the planned activities. Although the committee notes that a number of staff at these institutions had been significantly reduced at the time, which hampered the implementation of the quantified outputs. This especially relates to the non-medical staff. In Kawempe National Referral Hospital, for example, the Auditor General noted that 26 quantified outputs worth 11.557 billion were assessed and established that 23 activities representing 88% were fully implemented, while 3 activities representing 12% were partially implemented. While in Chirudu Regional Referral Hospital, 26 quantified outputs, activities worth 11.557 billion were assessed and established that 23 activities representing, again, 88% were fully implemented, while 3 activities representing 12% were partially implemented. The same cases of partial implementation can be cited in Naguru and Mubende Regional Referral Hospitals. The committee recommends that accounting officers should ensure that planned and approved outputs are implemented, and those that fail should be penalized. Absorption of funds and utilization of warrants. A number of entities were noted in the report of the Auditor General to have failed to optimally absorb the funds that were allocated to them, causing money to be swept back to the Treasury. These funds were mostly meant for wage, gratuity, and pension that were not fully paid by the end of the financial year. While interacting with some of these entities, the committee discovered that majority of the affected accounting officers did not seek revision of their budget and work plans as provided for under Section 17(3) of the Public Finance Management Act 2015. For example, Chirudu Referral Hospital had a total warrant for the financial year of 21.287 billion. Only 20.656 billion was spent by the entity, resulting in an unspent balance of 0.63 billion, representing an absorption capacity of only 97.6%. While Kawempe Hospital had a total warrant for the financial year of 13.168 billion. The hospital spent 13.03 billion, resulting in an unspent balance of 0.139 billion, representing an absorption capacity of 99%. Entebbe Hospital had warrants amounting to Uganda shillings 3.88 billion, Uganda shillings 3.35 billion was spent by the entity, resulting in an unspent balance of 0.329 billion, representing an under-absorption of 1%. The unspent balance of 0.329 billion was on salaries occasioned by late release of funds, and I wish to invite colleagues to underline late release of funds. Naguru Hospital had total warrants for the financial year of 10.87 billion. Only 9.99 billion was spent by the entity, resulting in an unspent balance of 0.878 billion, representing an absorption level of 91.9%, while Jinja Hospital had a total of receipts of 11.065 billion, of which 9.97 billion was spent by the entity, resulting in an unspent balance of 1.086 billion, representing an absorption capacity of 90%. The committee also noted with concern that some of the unspent funds was a result of late release of funds, especially supplementary budget for salaries, which defeats the conditionalities of approval for supplementary budgets as laid down in the PFMA 2015. Committee notes that this is one of the causes of under-absorption. Section 17 of the PFMA states that any appropriation by Parliament expires by 30th June and ceases to have any effect at the close of the financial year for which it is made. The committee recommends, therefore, 1, that the Accountant General strictly enforces Section 15(2) of the PFMA 2015, which requires that the annual cash flow plans issued under subsection 1 be the basis for release of funds to entities. 2, that accounting officers should strictly adhere to the annual budget performance contract signed with the PSST pursuant to Section 45 of the PFMA 2015. The contract binds accounting officers to deliver on activities in the work plan of the vote for the financial year submitted under Section 15 of the PFMA 2015. Finally, all releases for wages must be made in a timely manner to ensure recruitment for service delivery. 1.3 is on misclassification of expenditure and mischarges. The audit established that a number of entities irregularly diverted funds from the activities on which they were budgeted and spent on other activities without seeking and obtaining the necessary approvals. The accounting officers explained that this was due to the inadequate budget allocation to the entities, yet the hospitals experienced unplanned emergencies like frequent equipment breakdown, water and sewage crisis, frequent power outages that required more fuel and injections, in the wards, infections in the wards and theaters due to high patient numbers, thus the need for urgent fumigation services. Other accounting officers explained that the hospitals had shortfalls on pension, but there were extra funds on gratuity budget, so they would mingle. In order to avoid accumulation of pension arrears, the hospitals paid pension from gratuity budget. The committee observed that misclassification is diversion of funds, and most of the diversions were effected on statutory expenditure lines of salary, pension, and gratuity. For example, for instance, Lira, Kawempe, Jinja hospitals registered mischarges amounting to 105 million, 47.1 million, and 75 million, respectively. It was also noted that in some instances, the accounting officers over-budgeted and concealed funds under statutory items, yet they were over and above the actual requirement. The committee further observed that diversion of funds is not only contrary to the Public Finance Management Act, but it negatively affects the delivery of services and negates the purpose of budgeting by distorting approved plans. We recommend, therefore, that the affected accounting officers be reprimanded by the PSST for diverting funds from one expenditure item without seeking authority, and a report be given to Parliament within 6 months. The committee further recommends that the accounting officers should utilize the PFMA 2015, which gives guidance on the environment and reallocation of funds within a vote should need arise. 1.4, unauthorized loan deductions. And this, Madam Speaker, is a matter that keeps recurring year after year. The Auditor General noted that in most regional referral hospitals, there were unauthorized loan deductions from employees' salaries without letters of undertaking from the responsible officers. Counting officers explained that this mainly arose from the staff transferred to new stations without their personal files. In such cases, employees would have active deduction accounts without complete records at new stations. In some cases, non-transferred staff faced similar predicaments, thus attracting the attention of the Auditor General. Accounting officers further informed the committee that problematic loans were contracted before Payroll Consults Africa came into existence and were being granted at Ministry of Public Service level. However, currently, all loans are forwarded and granted basing on a letter of undertaking by the accounting officer. Indeed, honorable colleagues, we have raised similar concerns of loan deductions on behalf of the affected civil servants. We have also passed resolutions about this vice, but it continues. In Lira Hospital, for example, audit established that UCLA UBA deducted 12,591,781 shillings from 15 staff without approval of the accounting officer from the Payroll Deduction Management System, PDMS. The 15 staff were not in the quote, my approval report, end of quotes, but in the active deduction report. In Hoima Referral Hospital, the same group deducted 21,015,298 shillings from 8 staff without approval of the accounting officers from the PDMS. The committee observed that the government continues to maintain a manual staff file. The committee observed that government continues to maintain manual staff files, which are not easily movable upon transfer of the affected staff. The practice poses a risk of causing deduction without liability, thus depriving staff of their hard-earned funds. This may also expose government to litigation and, in some cases, industrial action. Further, the committee is cognizant of clauses 2.1.2 and 2.1.4 of the Public Service Agreement between the government, Ministry of Public Service, and the Uganda Consumers Lenders Association, Stroke Bankers Association, which requires a letter of undertaking for each government employee before making employee reservation on the PDMS. Therefore, under the said clauses, only deductions consented to by employees in writing should be submitted to the Ministry of Public Service for timely monthly payroll processing, or as advised by the employer stroke entity. The committee therefore recommends that accounting officers should ensure that all loan applications are streamlined, with all data being reconciled in liaison with the PCA management and approvals done through the PDMS system. 2, that the hospital management should, within 3 months from the adoption of this report by Parliament, seek for guidance from Ministry of Public Service on the usage of the PCA and the PDMS interface to accurately manage their loan database. That government should migrate from the manual to digital automated files, and no deduction should be made without fully implementing this. Excuse me. Right Honourable Speaker, long-standing payables, and this is another monster. The audit established that the amount of arrears in hospitals over time and current budget allocation does not match. For instance, in Chirudu Hospital, management reported a closing balance of payables of 458 million. Kawempe Hospital reported 932 million. Jinja reported 1.5 billion, while Entebbe reported 824 million. The accounting officers explained that accumulated arrears were mainly arising from inadequate funding for the entities as well as insufficient releases that escalated utility costs. Committee observed that in some instances the approved budget estimates for the year under review had no provision for the settlement of domestic arrears. These entities cannot run effectively without some of these services. The committee further observed that incurring more debt is contrary to the commitment control system instituted by the government to curb budgetary indiscipline by accounting officers. The committee observed that the accounting officers committed government beyond their approved budget without authorization, contrary to the commitment control system. The committee therefore recommends the accounting officers should ensure adherence to the commitment control systems to minimize the accumulation of domestic arrears, budget for payment of domestic arrears, and also come up with a debt settlement plan with the various creditors to avoid possible litigation and associated costs. B, committee recommends that accounting officers should be held responsible for creation of arrears without authorization. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should also be held liable for failure to clear domestic arrears, which poses a danger of insufficient and ineffective service delivery. IT governance. IT governance entails leadership structures and processes that enable an organization to make decisions to ensure that its IT sustains and extends its strategies and objectives. However, a review of the IT governance structures in some of the entities revealed that, 1, there were no specific structures that steer and oversee IT implementation. Most entities had an approved IT staff structure in place, but not implemented. For instance, Mulago Specialized Hospital, the entity has one, that is 16%, out of the IT staff establishment of 6. Similar findings were made in respect of Chirudu and China, Uganda, Naguru Hospital. There was no approved IT risk management framework policy at the entity and risk register. There was no business continuity plan, contrary to Section 4.6 of the National Information Security Policy, 2014. The accounting officers explained that management is engaging NITA-U, Ministry of ICT, to establish an IT risk management framework and business continuity plan. Note that the policy is one of 2014, which is 9 years ago. The accounting officers further explained that the hospitals were undertaking consultations with the relevant stakeholders to institute an IT governance structure to effectively and efficiently manage the hospital's IT resources. The committee observed that the absence of an ICT governance structure hampers formulation of appropriate ICT policies, strategies, and real-time upgrade of ICT interventions. In addition, it may lead to misalignment of IT investments with the overall government strategic objectives. We recommend, therefore, that the accounting officer should expedite the processes of engaging NITAU and Ministry of ICT in establishing an IT risk management framework and business continuity plan. The committee further recommends that the accounting officers institute governance policies, structures to effectively manage IT investments in consultation with other stakeholders like that of NITAU. 1.7, understaffing in health facilities. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the Auditor General observed that national and regional referral hospitals have staff structures that need to be adequately filled for efficient and effective service delivery. The audit further established that critical gaps, mark the word critical gaps, were mainly observed in the national referral hospitals that were recently elevated from the regional referral hospitals, whose staff structures are yet to be approved by the Ministry of Public Service. They are in place for years, but the structure is not approved by Ministry of Public Service. Most of the accounting officers explained for most of the facilities do not have funds for recruitment, while others, funds for recruitment of staff were warranted and released in the last quarter of the financial year 2022. As a result, there was not enough time for Health Service Commission to recruit staff so that the facilities can absorb funds, and the funds were thus returned to the consolidated funds. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to lay emphasis on this. You identify the gaps, you scamper around and get the funds, but the funds are released in the last quarter, in May, and yet you are supposed to undertake a recruitment process which takes a minimum of 6 months. The committee observed that inadequate staffing results in heavy workloads and exploitation of existing staff, creates job-related stress, which negatively affects the quality of service delivery to the community. Employment and underemployment, yet government has the relevant budget. We recommend, therefore, as follows: that government should ensure adequate funds are provided in the budget and released on time to ensure recruitment plans for health facilities is implemented within the available timelines provided. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should therefore be held liable for the late release of such critical funding. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, for the specific query and recommendations delineated per vote, I invite honourable members to refer to the main report, which is uploaded on your iPad. May I take this humble opportunity, Madam Speaker, to thank you immensely for this time and your continuous guidance as we proceed for the future. Let me say that I've also been delighted to hear from you that you have given committees up to end of this month, subject to lifting lockdown during the recess. We undertake to present all the other reports. But for now, for the information and for your guidance, Right Honourable Speaker, we also have the reports ready for the ministries. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Can we first adopt the one of the hospitals before we go to the ministries? And thank you so much, Honourable Chair, for a very good report and exhaustive. When you look at what the Honourable Chair has just presented, the issues that are raised is that the hospitals are acting against Section 22 of the Public Finance Management Act, that is mismanagement of mischarge of expenditure. The mischarge, you can only do a mischarge after getting an approval from the PSST. Then the unauthorized loan deductions from the staff emoluments. That is very criminal. Just imagine it is you whom they are deducting your monies without your authorization. And then the issue of late release, as we talked about it the other day, that the late release is out of so many factors. Either you give your supplementary bring loans very late, supplementary is late, and then we give out money which is not correct, or they start the procurement late. So that late release of funds is really very dangerous. You look at the understaffing. Understaffing, you go to a hospital. I am happy the interns have been deployed, so that could really help us. The accumulation of domestic arrears, largely attributed to inadequate budget releases. Arrears is very, very dangerous. Why don't you accumulate receivables? Because the opposite of payables is receivables. So you're disadvantaging the people that have supplied you. It is going to accrue interest. It will even go as far as litigation. So we need to make sure that we spend within what we have, and if the institution has made a commitment, then you release that money, because it affects the economy, it affects the supplier, it affects everybody. Then the lapse in management of land. We have talked about land. That issue of land, I am glad we made a resolution in this house. We have made a resolution that no transfer of land without authorization of this house. The stockouts and non-delivery of medical supplies. Just imagine you go to a hospital, you can't even get Panadol.
Right Honorable Speaker, I personally want to apologize. Yesterday I was not in the house, and it was my turn to be in the house. As you are aware, I have not been well, and I have not fully recovered. But because of the importance of this report, Right Honorable Speaker, I had to come in. Chairperson of the committee and the entire committee for a very elaborative, extensive, well laid out good report. At the same time, I want to thank even the Auditor General for the issues of concern that were raised on the national and regional referral hospitals, specialized health services, and
yes, Naomi, Honorable Naomi.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I didn't want to disturb my good friend, Honorable Kawoya. However, she has just told us that she's not been well, but because of this important report, she was forced. And I've seen her, she's been seated there, quiet.
She's actually not well.
She's actually not well. But Honorable Speaker, we have a senior minister in that ministry. We have also another minister. They are like three. I always see her coming, whether she's okay, whether she's not. What is happening to the senior minister and your colleague, even to the extent of making you come when you are sick, a patient to come and be here? Are we
Honorable Minister
procedure right for the patient to come and talk about these patients?
Honorable members, I actually want to excuse Honorable Anifa. Honorable Anifa, you go and rest. The report is there. The report is there. We will expect to get a feedback within 6 months, a treasury memoranda on what has been done.
Thank you, Right
I don't want
Honorable
you
Speaker.
to collapse on the
I
floor.
only want to, as I was saying, was thank the committee, and I want to commit ourselves as within the 6 months that we are going to take seriously the recommendations, observations, and on the implementation side, and we shall report back to the action taken.
Thank you.
On my senior minister, Right Honorable Speaker, you know she has been away, and when she came in, she had an engagement with the Minister of Finance yesterday and today, and that's when she asked that I should come in.
She has been sent to Moroto Hospital.
Yes. And my other sister colleague is on leave, and she said so. So I had to do the right thing for cause of duty to come here. I thank you, members. Thank you for your concern.
Thank you.
Right Honorable.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Yes, Honorable Minister, the matters that are raised are financial in nature. When you look at issues of mischarge, when you look at issues of mischarge, when you look at the issue of domestic arrears, you are the one supposed to release the money. When you look at the issues of course, the understaffing comes out of lack of money. If you don't give enough money, how will I recruit more staff? The issue of stock out and stock non-delivery, it is still financial in nature. National medical stores will tell you we didn't have the money. What will happen? On the issue of deducting people's money, unauthorized deductions, that one we can take to local government, but it still comes back to you because of having accounting officers who are not compliant to the law. What do you say about it?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I will directly respond to 3 issues, and I will beg your indulgence that on the rest, I will need to retire, and I will give a written report or a written explanation. Late release of funds. Colleagues, the way the Treasury operates.
Honorable Minister, you don't need to retire.
Sorry?
You don't need to retire to give us a written explanation. We only need a treasury memorandum. That is by law. You're going to look at these items one by one and respond to them and put an action you have taken and then bring it back to the House.
Okay, so that means I need not to respond right now. Am I right?
Yes, you have taken note of what is happening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Doctor?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I'd wanted that the Minister gives clarification on 2 or 3 issues. One, on the issue of drug stockouts. Right Honourable Speaker, as this Parliament, last year it was resolved that the money to NMS will be front-loaded for operational funds at the start of the quarter within the first week of the first month. This has not been implemented. And as we speak right now, NMS has not yet delivered within the first quarter, so we're losing 1 quarter. That was something that was supposed to be implemented. It would be important if the Minister can clarify on that. Secondly, on the issue of absorption, we had recommended earlier on that if the funds for recruitment can be released within the first 2 quarters, in the same way development budgets are released. Because for boreholes, for example, it's released within the first 2 quarters. Then you have 6 months. So I wanted just to raise those 2 issues so that they can be captured as action items.
Honorable Minister, on this, let him answer one by one. You're talking to an old man. You first answer the issue of NMS, that you're supposed to release money in the first quarter, and then the issue of absorption.
Madam Speaker, I thought you had given me a leeway, yes, to go and make a written explanation of what has been raised.
Honorable Minister, as you go and bring a treasury memorandum, what this House is saying, that it was an agreed position that national medical stores, the money should always be front-loaded in the first quarter, so that it supplies all the hospitals drugs. And in terms of absorption, that money should also be given within the first and second quarter to avoid under-absorption. That's what the House is, what the Honorable Minister is saying. Now, he's saying, how come that by now you've not given national medical stores money? Is that true or not?
I cannot confirm right now because I do not have the record with me. If I had known these issues very early, I would definitely give a definite answer. That's why I'm saying. But you
can also make a commitment, Honorable Minister, that you're going to ensure, if it has not been done in the first quarter, you're going to make sure that money to national medical stores is all given in the second quarter.
We shall oblige. We shall oblige, Madam Speaker and colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you. Stephen.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mine is also clarity on emphasis of matter that might be left out. Whereas we're talking about late release, but what of the misrelease? Releasing money which is supposed to be for pension or areas, and you are releasing it for the money which is needed is salaries, you release for pension, which is causing this mischarge of these officers. Yeah, because there is money that has been put.
You're mixing two things.
Yes.
What is a mischarge?
It's like a diversion, but the diversion is being caused because money has been sent.
I can do a mischarge, for instance, if I'm given money for parliament, for salaries, and the money that I've been given is not enough. So, because the money is not enough, I go and get money from development account without seeking for an authorization. I'm just reminding you that I used to be a chair of accounting committee.
Yes, but what we would like when they are making the report, Right Honourable Speaker, is why do they have to do that? Money which is supposed to be released for particular aspect and they release for something else.
Chair, can you clarify for him to understand on the issue of pension versus salary, gratuity?
Right Honourable Speaker, these are all statutory expenditures. Now, what happens in some cases, you would find the entity budgeted less for pension.
The entity budgeted less, not finance.
Or was given less.
Or was released less.
Yes, released less for pension. So what they would do, they go on gratuity and use gratuity to pay pension. In some other cases, they would use pension to pay salaries, or they would use the gratuity, the pension budget, to pay gratuity. They would use them interchangeably. So that's the conundrum we're talking about.
That is the mischarge we are talking about.
And it is about two. First, it may be against about the accounting officer budgeting less. But in other cases, it is about Ministry of Finance releasing less for a statutory expenditure. And now the accounting officers find themselves in a tight corner. The pensioners are suing me. I have some excess here.
Honorable Minister, there are some statutory votes or activities. For instance, you can't give us, if you're paying salaries, you can't give us less than what we are supposed to spend. And that's what the Honorable is saying, that because salary, pension, gratuity are statutory, you ought to give all the money. It's not anything that you should release some and remain with some.
More clarification.
I am still talking to the minister. Minister, have you got...
Madam Speaker, at times we get constrained by the cash. You know, we operate a cash budget. Now, with the needs and supply, with the needs, at times we portion the way when we are releasing the money less. Simply because at the time of the quarter, you know, we release cash to the spending agencies at the beginning of a quarter, just like now we did in the month of July this year.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, that definitely then the Treasury does not read the law correctly. And I really apologize for that. And I want to assure, just hold on, I want to assure you, it will not be repeated now that it has come to my full attention.
Thank you, thank you. Honorable members. Honorable members. What clarification?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I would like to get clarification on some of the issues raised. Especially, I would like to get clarification on some of the issues raised, especially on the disaster management for some of these hospitals, where I would like to know the plans. Prioritization at some of these institutions is really a challenge. You find that at the moment we don't see the need for building infrastructure for rainwater harvesting and all that. And then later we find it is really essential. So could there be a guideline, a circular, especially for example in this time, to guide some of these institutions, prioritize, because it is going to destroy much of the infrastructure at these institutions. Right, Honorable Speaker, I would like also to get clarity on supplies and then staff performance. Right, Honorable Speaker, on most of these hospitals, it is...
you want on supplies?
On supplies. On supplies.
What about supplies?
What is the percentage? The percentage of the ability of an institution to serve our people?
You know, Christine,
yes,
you're now going on issues of policy. That is policy matters. Now we are looking at accountability.
Yes.
Now the matters that you are raising should now go to Dr. Chut's committee. That is the Minister of Committee of Health. Those are policy matters. Tell me issues in regard to accountability.
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker, the other issue of accountability is on staff time allocation to some of these institutions. We need accountability.
You still go back to what I'm saying.
It is an accountability issue.
No. Those are policies. Yes, John?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, there seems to be a clear admission from the Minister of Finance that the problem is not singularly with the accounting officers. And the report has recommended punitive action against accounting officers, especially for realignment of resources. It would be prudent that this resolution or recommendation by the committee be adjusted to go case by case, because in many occasions it was
It is on
beyond.
the report.
Yes.
What you was reading is an executive summary. You will get a report. If you're talking about Soroti, it has its own report. If you're talking about Lira, it has its own report. So what he read was generic.
Thank you, Right Honourable. Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, the issue of late releases has been discussed since Tuesday and even the days before. However, it could be prudent that we guide the ministry, especially when it comes to requests. Like last financial year, Right Honourable Speaker, we received a loan request for budget support in June when the financial year was ending. Could we come up with a policy where there is a time limitation when especially money which is in budget support but in terms of loans can come to this house, because approvals would be done many times very late, and it would definitely point to the release of the resources late. Thank you.
Budget support, meaning that the budget is there and you cannot be able to pay any money because there is no money, so they bring in seeking for a loan. But we should be specific to recurrent, not development. You cannot avoid budget support because you'll find you will not have money to pay salaries. So you have to bring in money to support the budget to end the financial year. What matters is what are you funding with that budget? Because if it is salaries, then it will definitely be absorbed. It will be within the time. Katesh?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, and I want to thank the Chair for the presentation. Right Honourable Speaker, as much as you are talking about issues of accountability, I would like the Minister of Finance and I think the Cabinet to understand that why we are here, the issues that are being raised, partly are largely attributed to lack of synchronized planning. Because you allocate money for infrastructure, infrastructure is completed, but then it is not resourced with equipment. And later on, drugs and human resources. We cannot be here and be surprised that people are going to retire, and then we do not plan for their gratuity. So I think, Right Honourable Speaker, what we need from government is to synchronize. If you are looking at the health sector, don't come up with resource infrastructure, and while you have not planned that infrastructure must be resourced with equipment and the human resource that is required. So we need, I think we need to, would have appreciated also from the report some of the policy recommendations that could actually go to the relevant committee so that we can really work on the weaknesses in this sector. And you have looked at the major hospitals, but if you go down into the health center force, the situation is not any different. It could be worse. So, Right Honourable Speaker, we would like really to have the sector committee responsible to actually look at these issues, and maybe we could even have a bigger debate about how we can strengthen this sector and help our people. Thank you.
Goretti?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to remind the House that I'm the Minister Shadow for Science, Innovation and Technology. And in this regard, I'm very interested in IT governance, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, in almost every sector, there is a general complaint
about IT issues. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to inform this House that there was a general cut in the Ministry of ICT of their budget, close to 50% general cut. And the ministry is very stuck. Actually, if it wasn't for UCC and NITAU, the Ministry of ICT wouldn't have been surviving financially. So, Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Finance should specifically answer, why do you underfund the Ministry of ICT? Digital transformation.
Are we talking about?
No, Right Honorable
ICT
Speaker, they have the issue of IT governance under the report that was given here. And this has become general in almost every report. And I'm informing the minister that this has cut across, and it arises out of underfunding of the ICT sector. So I want him to pick interest in the Ministry of ICT, because digital transformation is a very important program to this country, and it has been ignored across board. So, Right Honorable Speaker, this must be
that
sorted.
budget go, Chair, doesn't that budget go to specific hospitals? Isn't it embedded in the budgets of specific hospitals for ICT?
Right, thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. From our findings, yes, each entity receives a budget for ICT. Of course, the general problems that we have mentioned still affect the ministries. But one of the things I have just mentioned here relates, one, to staffing. I have mentioned where there is need for 6 staff, there is only 1. I mean, those are some of the chronic problems that we continue to grapple with.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put a question that the report of the Committee of Public Accounts Central Government on the report of the Auditor General on national regional referral hospitals and other specialized health votes for the financial year 30th June 2022 be adopted by this Honorable House. Those in favor say aye, the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Now ask the clerk to extract the report and forward it to PSST to prepare a treasury memoranda pursuant to section 53(1) of the Public Finance Management Act 2015. Next.
Item 5, motion for adoption of the consolidated report of the Public Accounts Committee, Central Government, on the Auditor General's report for the year ended 30th June 2022, covering 14 votes.
As I said before, we had 2 reports, and could you summarize for us this other remaining report? You don't need to go through the methodology because it's the same methodology. Honorable, I put a motion.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
And I say the ayes have it.
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you. With respect to the ministries, as mentioned, in terms of the introduction, it is the same. The methodology is the same, as well as the scope. With regard to the specific observations...
Honorable, before you go ahead, can we first have our circular for schools? I've seen both ministers here.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, with your permission, I would like, if you permit me, Right Honorable, I would like to read it verbatim and also read the schools and other institutions calendar for 2023. I have them. Madam Speaker, I'm reading a circular number 10/2023, written on 16th of May 2023. It's written to all head teachers of government and private secondary schools, all head teachers of government and private primary schools, all proprietors of private schools and primary schools, teaching learners during the holidays. The Ministry of Education and Sports is in receipt of continuous reports that some schools and parents are planning to conduct lessons during holidays for first term of academic year 2023. This is against, and it is in contradiction of the ministry's policy and calendar, and deprives the learners the opportunity to rest in preparation for the next academic term. The purpose of this circular is to instruct you not to conduct or allow any person to conduct holiday lessons in your schools. Any school found in contravention of this instruction will have its license revoked in case of private schools, or have the administrator subjected to disciplinary proceedings in case of government schools. By copy of this calendar, circular, the chief administrative officers, the district education officers, and the district inspectors of schools are requested to ensure that no lessons are conducted in any school in their areas of jurisdictions during holidays. Signed by the Permanent Secretary, Katie Lamaro. I want to lay this on table, Madam Speaker. Number two, I also want to lay a schools and other institutions calendar for 2023. Madam Speaker, when I talk about schools, I mean primary, secondary, technical, farm schools, and community polytechnics. Madam Speaker, as far as the record is concerned, term 3 opens on Monday, 18 September 2023, and is from then it ends on 1st December 2023. This is an official record of the Ministry of Education and Sports. With your permission, the other details are inside here. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you. So members, take note. Take note. Honorable Minister, Honorable Chair. You want to debate on what we asked for? Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Thank you. Maybe for
we still have time. Members, we will sit here even up to 10. Let's finish that. Then we come
Right,
back.
Honorable Speaker, with respect to the ministries, the report relates to the following ministries: the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Works and Transport, the Ministry of Water and Environment, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Ministry of Education and Sports, Ministry of Local Government,
What?
the Ministry of
You have
Internal
a
Affairs.
procedure? Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. With due respect to the chairperson of this committee, who is a very respectable legal guru in this country, my procedure issue is on Rule 204 of our rules of procedure. With your permission, Madam Speaker, I can read. A report of a committee shall be signed or initialed by at least 1/3 of all the members of the committee. The members of committee are 45 members, and the people who have signed the 1/3 should be at least 15 members. But this report, there are 8 members. So I don't know whether that rule applies to this report. I thank you.
The honorable members, the report which was uploaded is what was brought first. Now you need to change what was uploaded, because the one which is uploaded has more than 17 members. Go ahead.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and that is true for the honorable colleague. But even mathematically, it's not about 15. Actually it comes to
Mr.
13.
Kema, can I have the last report which was brought, uploaded, the one which has more members?
Thank you. So, I was continuing to
It
say...
is substance of a
form. Ministry of Local Government, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Public Service, Office of the President, and the Office of the Prime Minister. Right Honorable Speaker, I had gone up to the general observation and recommendations. On NTR, the committee reviewed the estimates and established two fundamental problems: that some entities under budget, and then seem to shoot over and above the expectation because of under budgeting. Other entities do not budget for NTR, and then the others over budget. We recommended, and we recommend, that the accounting officers should make realistic projections in liaison with the Ministry of Finance and Planning and Economic Development. Number two of the specific observations, Right Honourable Speaker, relates to implementation of quantified outputs, and our recommendation is that all entities should hire qualified personnel to do the planning function in their entities. Those with such personnel should receive adequate and regular training to align with the development goals of the country. All entities that fail to comply with Section 1315 of the PFMA, or those that delay to submit their quantified outputs, should be sanctioned and have their budgets rejected. 3, all entities without exception should mandatorily submit their quantified outputs for effective assessment of their performance in relation to the budget. 4, accounting officers who divert funds meant for the implementation of planned activities be held responsible and money recovered. 5, all accounting officers should ensure that they undertake deliberate steps in enhancing the capacity of their staff, planning, budgeting, and monitoring, as well as evaluation, with specific emphasis on the tracking of outputs as per the strategic plan. The next, Madam Speaker, relates to utilization or absorption of funds. The committee did observe that there were significant cases of non-compliance with the PFMA, and we recommended, 1, that the Accountant General strictly enforces Section 15 of the PFMA, which requires that annual cash flow plans be issued under subsection 1 be the basis of the release of funds, that accounting officers should strictly adhere to the annual budget performance contract signed between PSST and the accounting officers. Number 3.7 relates to performance of government receipts. Right Honourable Speaker, we did enumerate the specifics and the corresponding numerics in relation to the entities, and our recommendation arising out of the observations that the committee recommends that the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should endeavour to adequately fund the entities as appropriated by Parliament to enable implementation of the planned activities, because deviation from that amounts to usurping the powers of Parliament in appropriating. And further, that government should put in place a robust disaster management plan to avoid catastrophic effects similar to what we witnessed in COVID-19 pandemic. Finally, Madam Speaker, I think a colleague raised the issue of policy recommendations. That was the Honorable Kate Shumbwa. Yes, in our report, we make policy recommendations, especially on matters that are meant to go to the sectoral committees. We have made those specific recommendations. The case in point is in the Ministry of Trade. There are issues which fall under the committee, as the Speaker guided, and we recommended that those ones be transferred because they are not accountability issues. And on the issue of the health center force, just to remind my colleague that actually we do not handle them. We handle regional and national referral hospitals. We do not go down to the other health facilities. I want to thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, and move that the House finds pleasure in adopting the report as presented, with any necessary amendments as you may deem appropriate. I thank you.
Thank you so much. And when you look at this report, there are issues which are generic in nature. That is still on mischarge, lack of strategic plans. That is contrary to Section 13 of the Public Management Act, and accounted for funds. Lapse in the rollout of PDM, rising domestic areas, that is payables, and then staffing gaps. Those are the issues that have been found in those reports. Honorable members, that is a report that has been presented. Can we suspend the House for 5 minutes? We come back and debate.